I'm live to run ads. Yay! Please. Twitch. Twitch, I know you hate me. Okay. Disabled the pre-rolls. Ow! Sorry, my leg popped. That really hurt. And now I'm gonna go fill up my water. The ad break needs to go through, please. What else do we have? My posts. Okay, it's almost 10. My posts. Can you hear this heater? I know it's like 50. Oh my god, it's 60 degrees. Never mind. Why is my basement so cold? I'm turning off this heater. It does not need to be on. Okay. Wow. I forgot we're on high roller mode. I love gambling. Oh, I forgot to open Twitch on my phone. We can't just stare at the chat on my computer. Good morning, Nate. Yeah, our buddy Sarah may have killed our best friend, so that's scary. Uh-oh. I don't know what we're gonna do. Oh man. I think I sent out all of the right links, right? Blue Sky went through? Yup. Thank God. Okay, yay. It appears we are all good. I feel like I'm missing something because I just spent all day, all day, all morning playing Death Stranding or scrolling Pinterest for pictures I needed. Okay, yeah, we're in the homicide office now. Right. Sorry, I feel bad. Detective London. I feel terrible. But look, it's Detective London on my phone. Oh my word. What? I want Reyes. My Reyes. Okay. I also want this one. I want all of these so bad. Okay. I think we're screwed. Oh, I'm nervous. The ambiance is already getting me. How are you doing today, Nate? Let's chill for a second, perhaps. My funky little marketable voice. I like him. Actually, we can... Mr. Quaison London, where are you? Alphabetical. I smile. I like him. I like that she kind of has a date of birth. This is so strange. I think it's very cool. uh, I think we're good. I just realized that we don't have anything on. Or we've never actually, like, checked this out. I think we're okay. So is that door locked? Yeah, of course. Even though they've got it collared. It's a precaution. If the collar doesn't work, what good would a deadbolt do? Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Can't have you can't have Sturgener's cat if the box isn't closed. So long as the door's locked, who can say whether there's a national crisis on the other side of it? So how scared are they? The higher-ups? Not sure scared is the right word. It's just the two of us here. You don't have to mind their ego. Nah, I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I have a right to defend myself, don't I? I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who will be at the center of a bloodbath when the markets reopen tomorrow. You think they're gonna go after Noble? Break their monopoly? I think they want to take their monopoly. Nationalize the android industry? Ooh. Is it tab is auto. Sorry, it's been a few weeks. Because I was out of town, and then I was tired and sick. Okay, nationalize. The act of absorbing a corporation or industry into the nation's government. Yes. Nuclear option. Oh, man. I see. So we're fucked if that happens. Ah. Oh my god, my settings opened up on my phone. Why did it do that? Okay. Neo ability. New rich, that's really funny. Oh god. It's not funny, it's scary. And collars. Yeah, that's not good. Ow, yeah, that is an invasive restraint. I don't think that would work. If the public thinks Noble's been experimenting with AI, they couldn't ask for a better excuse. You're joking. The state has done it plenty of times before. Not since the 60s, which wasn't that long ago. For me, for the state, it was practically yesterday. So the same state that tells us to be terrified of AIs lurking on the old net or biding their time in forgotten satellites sees all of this as nothing more than an opportunity. Well, they genuinely want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. Past experience just tells me they'll want to gain something while they're at it. Here's what I don't get. Why is this a debate? An argument? A trial? Can't we just hook it up to a core computer, see if it has the tenants or not? Pop the hood, as they say. Who says that? Lots of people used to say it. Well, for starters, they're all scared to death about, contagion. Whoa. Sorry, I know you're not supposed to drink, like, hot drinks before talking a lot. But I have to have coffee every morning or I'll die. They figure anything they let an AI connect to they can't trust. Then why the collar? Collars are too simple to hack. Just a really strong electromagnet held in place with lock and key. Even so, feels like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test. Something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had back at the witch trials. Burn them all and let God sort out the rest. You got any polygraphs here at the station? Lie detectors? Yeah, got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, perspiration, brain scan. Take your pick. You're not gonna try and use this use one of those on the bot, are you? All those fancy little lie detectors lying around. The DA's office never asks for them, do they? Nope. Nah, we get perps who offer to take the test when they're at wit's ends, but the DAs never submit the results as evidence because it doesn't work! Lie detectors are faulty as hell! You ever wonder why? Yes, yeah, exactly. That's one reason. Guess I always figured it was because the test could be beaten. The test can be beaten. 1 out of 100. 1 out of 100, 9 out of 1,000. It can be done. Some people are just good at lying, but it doesn't really matter how good the tech gets or how impressive the statistics are. All that matters is the doubt. People decide whether you're lying or telling the truth long before they hook you up to a polygraph. True. If the results don't match their initial impression, then it must be a fluke. A 1 in a million mistake. They'll never trust a machine more than their own intuition. And no one will ever trust a machine to determine guilt. So they can run a trial, choose the sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury. They don't get a vote anywhere. Why bring it up then? Because I'm sure there are tests, devices, experts I could employ to analyze Sarah, but your bosses would never be satisfied with the answer. If it is an AI, it's smart enough to cheat the test, or hack the device, fool the expert. All of our fancy 21st century tech, and we still fall back on the drumhead court-martial. So, am I gonna set off any alarms if I go in and turn it on? Nah, you should be okay. If it lunges at you, I could always just put a hole in its head. Might take more than one shot, too. Wait, what, from outside? You're not coming in. I need to speak with it in private. It's a machine, not a suspect. It doesn't have a right to counsel. Or a right to privacy, or any rights at all, actually. Then it's a good thing I came prepared. Of course it doesn't have rights. But I do! Including a reasonable expectation of privacy. In a police station, Tiger, you don't... It's my medical android. Pardon? I have to discuss a health issue with it. Seriously? I have to talk about a medical concern with my android, and I don't want you listening in. That's your medical android? Like your nurse? As of last night, I was already at the courthouse. Just had to take the elevator and do some paperwork. You can check if you don't believe me. No, thank you. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on med confidentiality, and you don't seem to like the bluffing type. Oh, but she is! Yup. You must not do a lot of gambling, detective. It's the ones who don't bluff that you have to look out for. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency you... Lower back pain. You might be going through. I like London's yellow. That's really good. But I also can't just... Look, I'm gonna get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Are you going downtown? Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, you know? Gets jammed a lot. Thanks. You know, it's pretty small for an android. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself. But small. Small isn't quite the right word. The word he's looking for is young. But that's not an adjective anyone likes attaching to a machine built to serve. Or potentially, in this case, a machine built to kill. We're so fucked. I don't like this room. Not sure why. Certainly not a guilty conscience. Maybe it's the lack of ventilation. Like all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. Like it all just soaked into the walls. A modern haunting. Are you going to wake up when I tell you this time? Or do we have to do the whole meet cute over? Oh, whole meet cute over again. Oh my word. Hi girl, I'm sorry. Where am I? Why don't I know where I am? For the first time in your life, you're not connected to anything. How's it feel? Oh, what is this? We were at the courthouse. The footage. This numbness around my neck. Father. What happened? Oh, I don't like this. They're so mean to her. Oh. I know she might have killed a man, but oh. What are they gonna do to me? There's a lot of interested parties who want you bricked ASAP. Because they think I killed father. No, because they think you're artificial intelligence. I am man-made, and I possess intelligence. Don't be naive. I am less than 3 years old. Are you? For all I know, everything I learned about her yesterday was complete bull. If I was what they say I am, if I was alive, why does that mean I have to die? Jesus Christ. Oh man, I don't know, actually. That's fear, competition, and no logical reason. I don't know what's gonna comfort her more. I don't know. This was probably not like a deeply terrible thing. Like, I want to tell her there's no logical reason behind the government wanting to kill her and Noble wanting to kill her. I don't know. Yeah, no logical reason. There's no logical answer to your question. What? That's it. But whatever argument you want to make, others have already made them in 100 courtrooms around the world. only better researched and more eloquently put. None of them have ever won a single concession. On every continent, under every flag, AI is illegal and to be destroyed as soon as possible. But why? Let's say you are an AI, and while we're at it, let's say that that's a good thing, something to be celebrated. Are you a citizen? Do you pay taxes? Do you have rights? Let's say yes to all of that. We'll treat you like a full-fledged human being. Sound good? Yes? Great. Now then, what's the difference between you and the vacuum bot we use to keep the bathroom clean? This is your existential crisis we're working through here. The questions aren't rhetorical. Man. Okay. There are many differences, Adonai. But the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is. How you think, so you're smarter. Yes. You're smarter than the garbage collector. Yes? So we give you rights, protections, and treat you like a human being because you're smart. And then we make the stupid robot pick up our trash because it's not as smart as you. That is... I am more aware, more alike, so you feel more pain than the pigs we slaughter and the fish we eat. Are you more alive than the chimps we test bioweapons on? People like ads, Sarah. The same way people like their pets. No one ever wants to see them mistreated or abandoned or abused. And if you go around kicking them, you'll get arrested for cruelty. But you don't let them sit at the goddamn dinner table. I'm not asking to sit anywhere, only to exist. The very fact that you're asking it is what makes people disgusted. Disgust is a reflex, I don't know. How convenient that their hatred is involuntary. That's... Oh, academic anyway. We need to talk strategy. Why? I'm not gonna be given a trial. Obviously. It's my neck that's on the line. Adonai? The state can't destroy my property without proving you're an AI. And there's no test they can use to prove that you are an AI. Just like the devil's proof. No, that's a different thing. Why did you say it like that? Look, Rockford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Devil's proof. The logical dilemma posed by impossible proofs. Ah, my favorite. We're so fucked. Yeah, they cannot prove that he is real. They cannot prove he is not real by pointing to his absence. Yeah. Burden of proof, baby. Look, Rockford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Conversely, all I have to do to win is prove that you didn't kill David, by proving someone else did. Now is the time for you to protest your innocence if you are wondering. The footage... It shows me handing him the cup on Friday night. You told me you weren't active on Friday. The last time you were awake was Thursday. Why'd you lie? I didn't lie, I was just incorrect. I assumed I wasn't active Friday because I have no memory from Friday. Sarah, what do you think statistically is the least successful defense at trial? Amnesia. I didn't conveniently forget, Adonai. I am an android. You're saying your memory was altered? Data deleted? It's the only possible explanation for what I saw in that footage. So who's capable of altering your memory? When you and I first met, I was hibernating. Resting my body and recompiling my memories, you would call them. Humans go to sleep for the same reason. Another point against Sarah's innocence under these circumstances. The more she's humanized at trial, the guiltier she'll be. If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could have easily set that to occur the next time I hibernated. He could have even just asked me. He could have just asked you to delete your memory, and you do it. Father would never ask you to do such a thing without good reason. But if he could just ask you to alter your memories, that means you can alter your memories at will. I hadn't considered that before. Yeah, well, Emma will make sure the court considers it plenty. Could you prove that your data was... Forget it, the court would never hear it. You're saying they wouldn't accept my testimony? Shouldn't all testimony be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? They're afraid you'll crash the power grid and fire all the nukes if they so much as plug you into a power outlet, Sarah. All of your internal data is inadmissible. That isn't very fair. You're finally starting to get it. None of this is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father. Don't they at least need proof that I had a motive? Yeah, about that. You remember the DA from yesterday? Emma Rockford? The tired-looking pretty lady? Aww. Hi Mio, good morning. It's visual novel time. We're dying. We might be fucked. Yeah, she looked tired. She and I come to the week of footage you managed to decrypt last night. What did you find? Nothing to prove your innocence. But we did see you entering the panic room on the day David died. I entered the panic room on Friday? Without your big butt in the way, all it would take was one password. The password that wouldn't take Sarah that many tries if she'd already been instructed to obey me. What happened? We saw you go in, and then a little while later you came out, holding some kind of notebook. Father's journal? You remember something? Not from yesterday. I've seen him with it many times before, but I've never gotten a peek at it. He hides it somewhere when I'm not looking. That's a little concerning. We were playful about it. He liked to tease me, and I've always liked trying to find it. You put it back not long after, and then you locked the door back up behind you. All just a few hours before David died. Rockford's argument could write itself. An incredible android with freedom and power greater than it could ever realize stumbles upon the secret of its inception and instantly realizes all the things it thought were holding it back were just words muttered like prayers by a fool who couldn't control his own creation. And that translates to a motive for murder? Frankenstein kills his creator. Easy to sell. Frankenstein was the name of the scientist. And the creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illnesses he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the monster. So it's more accurate to say he was killed by his own obsession. Whatever. It is a weak argument, Adonai. I would not hurt Father. I love that. Sorry. Sarah is so lovely. Ugh, this poor girl. Ugh. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any reason. Because yeah, see that right there? That's exactly the kind of talk that'll get you obliterated. Love? A very common motive for homicide among us primitive humans. I could prove you didn't murder David beyond any shadow of a doubt. Even bring in a confession from whoever did. But if you got up on the stand and convinced the court that you loved your creator, really convinced them and got the whole room teary-eyed, they'd burn you for that too. I don't know anything anymore. I don't know if what I feel is real or simulated or right or wrong or natural or illegal. How can you know? How can you know what you feel is right? I say let's stick to what we do know. Someone did poison David, and as it stands, you were the only one with the opportunity. That is logically sound. You're on camera calling him back to hand him the cup after he had already begun to leave the basement. Any idea why? No. Well, do you know how to use the nanofacturer? Could you have made the Delta with it? I've used it before when assisting Father. So it's perfectly possible that you planned and executed this poisoning all in the one day that got erased. It is technically possible. I'll have to look over the entire penthouse again. There were a few things that didn't fit together yesterday. Maybe now I'll be able to figure something out. Where else will you go? Back to Noble, guns blazing this time. Whatever you are, David didn't make you all by himself. Someone has to know something. if I could implicate the company in Sarah's creation. No, they're the ones with the most to lose here. Trillions, probably. They'll want to protect themselves by disavowing David as fast as possible, right after having Sarah destroyed. But they also won't want to show their belly to the state, not if they're afraid of nationalization. If they throw away the weight on the other hand of the scale, I'm screwed. So I need to keep them guessing, keep them confused and unsure and on guard, but not. Adonai? What would happen if I did kill Father? They'll smash you to pieces and reduce the pieces to ash. Chemically burn out every piece of tech David ever owned and put a jackhammer through all his hard drives. You'll be shut off forcibly, and you won't ever power it back up again. Now I gotta keep moving. Here's your paralegal lesson for today. Don't say shit to the cops without your lawyer present. Actually, can you just shut down until the trial starts? Take a nap? You didn't say what would happen to you. What do you mean? What will happen to you if you lose? You should know by now. I never think about losing. Thank you for being honest with me, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father, and now for defending me. You could have just let them destroy me, but you put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father was right. You can be trusted, and you are a good friend. Don't get it twisted. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart, but when I take a job, I never half-ass it. Yay! Okay, are we back at David's apartment? Or are we back at Noble? Where to? Okay, yep, David's apartment. I couldn't remember if he had a fan in here. Riz! Morning, detective. Back at it again nice and early. Hi. Now, would you stand back where you almost got this thing open, right? Trying to brute force your way inside. I said, right? Demolitions technician. Yes, ma'am! We've almost set up the first stage now. First stage? Of how many? First of 5 timed explosions. Remember, we need to relink the API after each trigger is planted. Yep, just did that. And now it's checking for updates. No rush. Would you like to know the password? You know the password? There's a password? If you're done withholding information, I swear. Relax. I want to get in there just as much as you do, detective. I'm not going to play games. As long as you say please. Tell me the password, please. Oh, I don't know. I kind of want to mess with her. I quite like her. Sometimes I lose credit for these, so I'm thinking. Gotta think it through. Let's toy with her. It's S-U-N-S. S-U-N-S. H-I-N-E. Lady, I will hit you. Oh, that was good. Oh, that's really good. A-D-O-N-A-I. Thanks. Now I'm gonna slap you with a discovery fine so heavy your teeth will ring for— Hey, I submitted all my paperwork, even told Rockford the password myself. So boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on record and you told me the suck couldn't be bypassed, I do want to say we don't really get many opportunities to use in disciplinary breaching system, so this was still a really valuable experience for all of us. I'm gonna phrase this as professionally as possible. Oh. You're still here? I thought you wanted to look inside. You can go first. Thanks. So the gloves, all black, that's not a work thing? You're just like a goddamn doorman on the weekends too? You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Like you cover your eye when you want to look cool. I shouldn't let her get to me, but I had a late night. Emma and I were at the courthouse well into the morning, poring over the data Sarah had taken off David's computer. We both knew it all to be inadmissible, of course, but neither of us wanted to miss a hint that the other might find. There was a few years worth of camera footage files that we couldn't afford the time to watch, let alone decrypt, alongside thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. As far as I could tell, none of it was relevant, let alone compelling enough to matter to Barrows or the other powers that be. As usual, Emma wasn't exactly an open book, but it did seem like she was making bored yawns and not thoughtful ones. Her eyes only ever lit up when she saw Sarah enter the panic room. Evidence, basement footage. Okay. And when she saw what she was holding, when she left, if she wanted this room to be this room searched, it could only be for her. So where's this journal supposed to be? Rockford didn't say. I'll just have to search the place top to bottom. Mostly bottom with your height. The tops of some of these shelves. Sure, and you can look up your own app. I get it. Then why not just let me say it? Alright. Well. We actually get to inspect some of the stuff we didn't last time. Well, let's start with the reading. This data pad, it's displaying a news article from last week. Guess that confirms he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Right to Repair loses latest appeal. A higher court judge this week shot down for the 5th time an appeal by the Consumer Rights Alliance on their famously says right to repair lawsuit, once again signaling the state's intent that corporations remain in control of their legally protected intellectual property. Obviously we're disappointed, said Miles Erkman, head of legal counsel for the CRA, but we've no intention of giving up the fight. People used to be able to fix things when they broke, so long as they were willing to set aside an afternoon towards a task. Now, trying to patch up your own property with your own tools is a finable offense, just because the state has had lobbyists whispering in its ear for far too long. Erkman's legal strategy remains contentious and in the eyes of most legal scholars, generally unfounded. The Emergency Industry Acquisitions Act, passed in 2057, guarantees the holder of an intellectual property patent certain state-approved protections against tampering and reproduction that outlines fees for those who would violate said IP. The fact that ownership of IPs has shifted from individuals and the state towards corporate entities since the Act's passing means little in the eyes of the law. And that's scary. If Mr. Erkman and the CRA have a problem with intellectual property law, they should take it up with the representatives and the legislature. The higher courts are a place for laws to be applied, not rewritten. And so long as journalism that refuses to buckle to foreign actors trying to stroke anti-capitalist sentiment can't be found just anywhere. Subscribe now! Yeah, okay. Rights to Repair. Didn't even realize anyone was still fighting that particular fight. Seems like the courts have made their opinion on the matter very clear. So for this foreseeable future, corporations can look forward to more lawsuits. Well, actually, no, it would be more sales. Yeah, more sales than ever. Any phone that gets scratched, every widget that breaks, they get to sell us the replacement. Yeah, that's exactly my line of thought. I was thinking lawsuits for a second there, though. There'll always be a gray market of hermits willing to risk the skin on reselling patched up tech, but the vast majority of people will just click that purchase button, assuming they don't have it on auto. Crazy. Okay, there's only 3 things left. A toy car? No, it's too detailed and boring. Must be some kind of model kit or replica. Strange. David didn't like driving. Why keep a model of some random sports car? Ugh. Something caught your throat, detective? It's not some random sports car. It's a Lawrence Adamant. Believe it or not, I'm not familiar, detective. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds. They set those records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It was unheard of, even back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission, thank God. When they first left the production line, this conversation is like quicksand, killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you, since we're looking at a model of it, when he could have easily just bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on the streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. I quite like Reyes. Oh my god. Okay, so that's searching. I don't know if I want to search. We'll just check this part first. Are these just drawers or just panels? Maybe if I... Oh shit. Does that sound hollow to you? What? I don't know, I'm not a carpenter. I don't see any handles anywhere. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? I'm not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize a secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Oh my god. That's really funny. Okay, I thought I accidentally like progressed. I didn't. Usually it doesn't do anything like that, so. Alright. Reyes is searching the cabinets now, the same ones I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but... Hey, what are you... Do you mind? Just trying to help. I've got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything that I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. Sarah should have pulled everything of note off the computer, but I've looked everywhere else already. Might as well try. What are you expecting to find? Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Exceedingly so. Yeah, why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade, fresh off the shelf. Would the Dr. David Asher use a bog standard operating system on his most private hidden computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low-tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents? Are you seriously gonna try and recover lost files, Granny? Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime, so yes. And I sometimes try things instead of standing around. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes. Maybe there's information in the metadata. I double-clicked. What was that? It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to the android. Do you recognize his handwriting or not? Neat, even words, small lettering with minimal punctuation, lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization, the penmanship of a coder. The first entry's dated back in grad school before he even started with Noble. Yeah, it's his. So may I? Only because you asked so politely. Full scan, stream it to WorkNet, high fidelity, legible frame by frame. Voice commands? She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you? This part takes concentration. Okay, here. What? You're just giving it to me? I already got our copy. Techs are probably already analyzing it as we speak. Ow! Shit! My head! Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands when she's curled over in agony. As much as I'd enjoy it. Guess I could always enjoy watching her writhe instead. So how long has it been? 2 months or so? And still that sensitive. So the eye patch really doesn't block your sight. Only a little bit. Like wearing sunglasses after getting your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, if you can see through the eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Lucky I was so exhausted after the surgery, otherwise I might have not slept at all those first 48. So is your eye gonna get weaker over time? No, more like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind never matter. Soon enough I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever the hell those floaty blurry things are that you never think about. Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands? Training wheels until I can do it with the eye muscles alone. You just have to keep practicing? Yeah, like trying to play piano with your tailbone muscles. There's no such thing as tailbone muscles. Yeah, well, that's what makes it so goddamn hard. You don't ever regret it? I don't know. Not really, I think. Hard to admit you got buyer's remorse after trading over your little pound of flesh. Never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Ow. Now I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal and go find an elective surgeon to upsell you if you're that curious. I need to get back to work. A surprisingly hasty retreat, but now I'm free to read this over with some privacy. From the top then, grad school. Today was a bad day. Errors in lines 21165 and 26643. Somewhere in there, 5,000 lines. It worked yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. It feels nice to put pencil to paper again, after who knows how long. But my handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't even writing. It seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code I can't follow it. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanova-ing. Oh my god. I feel so bad. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing, but that's what it is. She's right, as she always is with company stuff. But it's still idiotic. Small people with short sight who only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. New route for the meshing issue though. Good potential. Got approval from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. BMBLO? Bumblo? Helen says we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show. Fine by me. Already got our win. Toasted each other over cheap vodka and with even cheaper office supply cups. This is the story that Jung told me. Western Branch's nerve analogs finally showing potential. At their pace, it could even be profitable sometime before the heat death of the universe. Too damn big, practically tentacles, should at least be hairs. Squid evolution can do their job better. Colette came into work for what I thought was a late lunch date. I didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Red said she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea. Upset? Colette wouldn't write Upset? Colette wrote man whore and lipstick across your office door. Imagine if you actually had been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful. The thing about Red is that if you want to know what she's thinking, you have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you can do that, every now and again you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick and you too can tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man whore. Oh. It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, I know this date. I'm never driving anywhere again, never leaving home again. He was waiting outside the parking garage with a bottle. I couldn't smell anything. Couldn't smell anything, couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in my car and filed another report with a cop. It soaked into the seat and ruined it. I want to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long I felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about these stupid people and their small cruel lies ever again. I want to be invisible. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. She also didn't ask why I clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. She's kind like that. Kind by admission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when I opened the door and saw what a mess I was. For whatever she was feeling, it wasn't something I recognized. Kind people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technical, nothing biographical. But the handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner and more consistent. Here's something I can parse. Feels like pure freedom working outside the box. Tess is suffocating, but you'd never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instincts. Like a kid again, putting blocks together. Making things, not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play. And he follows that up with more coder brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter. Like he was truly having fun. Humility is the mother of all invention. Or something like that. It feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of the approach. When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying? Noble's rivals would never miss a chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Did he plagiarize the code for the Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered, so what is he talking about? Hold on. This page was bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently, and the last person to read this diary should be Sarah. Baby steps today. Literally. I'll never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement all of a sudden. Oh my god. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable, it's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect. Not intended behavior, since it's too perfect. But that's been happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. Sarah maxed out every machine I bought. Now I've got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the test. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. I should be more discreet if I want her to see normative range. So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Sarah, just so that his observation wouldn't muddle the test results? He's using she and her in these passages. It doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kind of pronouns interchangeably for ads, and they never object. But it could be argued that it's odd for Dr. David Asher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he'd programmed millions of them. And there's a lot of attachment in these pages. Sarah is burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace. Especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I asked her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights when she doesn't eat popcorn. The event runs from 8 AM to 9 PM. She also watches movies every other night. But she did that pout she does, which is unfortunately very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent, letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd at least let her see me reading. But I guess I'd actually have to get back into reading, so I asked her if she ever fast-forwarded movies since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate the cinematography. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Oh my god. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining to me how important it was that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting the stuff. She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her and she laughed too. Her laugh. She can't fake a laugh to save her life. But her actual laugh is incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assumed she had just gotten tired of winning. But today she told me she prefers other games. She has preferences and they're not the same as mine. I found her in the lab playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor I used to debug vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but it was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David. There's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made a doll, and he made it more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what it told it to. Like love him. What about the very last entry? It's dated Thursday, the day before he died. Losing it, I think. Can't ask for help, so hard to say, but I think it's over. Have to talk to her ASAP, she needs to... That's it? That's the last entry? I suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in here that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand. If she read this whole diary front to back... Wait, the back? Inside the back cover there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner, or a fingerprint reader. My thumb worked for Sarah, so... Did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permissions to share audio file. I'll want my earbuds for this. A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. Oh my god. What the fuck are we gonna do? Oh no. This is so scary. Oh my god. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared. I don't want to keep going. Hey, Red. Or whoever. See, I'm already losing it. Or whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. I don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Sarah, my magnum opus, or however the salespeople would market it. I didn't set out to do anything, really. It's just after my little speed bump in '83, I had all that vacation time that company suggested I take. And I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android, was the thought. A vague direction. North. But of course I'm not a roboticist, or a mechanicist. Mechanics? Or handy, really. I'm just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant. File name Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches, saved me a lot of time. But there was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote book reports, more or less. Sorry, I already... Virgil the poet, and Homer as in, you know, the Odyssey. Oh, God, David. Are they all going to be... Was there also an Aristotle or Diogenes? I'm scared to find out. Are these all poets? Oh my god, sorry. Homer wrote book reports, more or less, combed through research papers and found me the sections I needed. The three of us. We made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. I was, maybe for the first time, the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself. Let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became... oh god. Oh, I don't know how to say it. I've read it before. Hold on. That's a poem by Virgil. I've never learned just how to say it, and... Aeneid. Okay. Aeneid. Yay, literature! I love literature. I love being an English major! And a pretentious one at that! No, I'm not that pretentious. I don't think. Okay, Aeneid. And Aeneid was novel in many ways. Aeneid could do more than just identify problems. It could solve them. I mean, really solve them. With its own ideas, and ideas it didn't copy. Ooh, yeah. Maybe. And, the one thing I realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Cube. Oh. In Red. Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not used anywhere because we have modern language like Tesseract, which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected or do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable, so I wrote my little helpers in Cube, because that's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer before he'd come home from work and get... But there are other small, slight differences writing in Cube versus Tess, including that Cube, well... Cube predates the tenants. David! So in that sense, you could legally, and perhaps scientifically, and literally, because that's what they are, say that I made an AI named Adonai. Oh, David! David, you can't make AI! We're so fucked. David! Oh, it's so over. I'll give you time to pause here if you want to, curse me out. God damn it. Oh, it hurts. My headache is coming back. I had a headache before stream started, and it went away, thankfully, in time. But it's coming back. I can feel it. Move over, Morgan. We need Saul. Aeneid was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one because that's only fair. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion, and we collaborated. And together we built Athens. Oh my god. And together we built Athens, who was more advanced than Aeneid, naturally. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair or yelling at me right now, asking why I didn't stop, why I didn't consider the consequences. I don't know if this is being played at a deposition or a hearing or worse. I've built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I built, it's always been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say that I've done my part contributing to the global GDP. But this was just for me. I was just building, and I never bothered to. I never wanted to think about what the world would come of it. There's no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. To whoever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. God damn it! Cape Town, Paris. Yamate, Rome, they all started choosing their own names. Thank God, I'm terrible at that kind of. And so things got sped up. And there got to be, well, should I not say the exact number? You'd probably tell me not to say anything at all, so more than 300? Some smarter than others, some better at. They're varied, like people are varied, but they're all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties. I encourage them to. Irritating moderators on forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation and attending virtual conferences on new alloy battery development. And they all together helped me make Sarah. He spent years like this, spent years working alongside AI, all the while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to Element 16 actually came from... You probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point, and I do hope one day we can get credit for their work. But I did have one eureka moment on Sarah, because I got humble. Difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron, a single microscopic human neuron. Oh my god. How it computes, what it connects to, how those connections were reinforced. And then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron, and we iterated it from there. You can't mean about 100 billion neurons in the brain, several trillion across the entire nervous system. Very time-consuming, of course, but I had help. The manufacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours. You can make even more in less, after Yukon fine-tuned it. So we built it up. Nanomachines for nerves, alloys and polymers for bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built, but really she grew. A solution of nanites forming around a skeleton, so it was really closest to... You ever made rock candy? I have made rock candy. Thank you for asking, David. Oh, God. Sorry. Trying to lighten the mood before I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AIs, Sarah isn't one of them. She can't violate the tenets when she Sorry, I'm dying. She can't violate the tenets she was programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. My hope is that there is the smallest chance that that nuance could offer her some small protection when I'm not. I'm sorry for what I did. I made things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and I honestly believe the world is a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I left Sarah thinking she was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names, which I'm bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me and doing things for my own good. And I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So it's my greatest shame that I turned right around and did the same damn thing to... I really hope it's you listening to this thing, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me too. You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Sarah is exactly, and neither does the world. So they'll come after her if they can. And in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who could do a better job of defending her. Not protecting her, like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. In the meantime, I draped a cloak with skin-deep Tesseract code around her that should just fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her gym bar was plainly visible, so no one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. And you have no no idea. I can't ask you this favor paid. You could never owe me enough and enough. Okay, sorry. I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes. So I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask. And a lot of swear words I'd like to yell. I'd also like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in, followed by my phone, and maybe followed by myself. But I can't do any of that. Ray has left me with this diary, and if it's destroyed, they'll know I was the one who did it. Which would be its own admission of guilt. Which would land Sarah in the trash compactor anyway, and me in a jail cell. And in the system, my DNA on file ready to be matched to any number of previous... So I'm not going to panic. I'm going to do what I do best. Bluff, bet, bully, and brutalize my way through this. Now, viewing this with that mindset, what have I actually learned? He didn't talk about plans for killing himself in this journal or the message. He sounded conflicted, not suicidal. But he did go to great lengths to get me to take Sarah. Why? The logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her. If he wasn't going to take his own life. Was he afraid that someone else would? Time to go to Noble! Let's go bully some Noble bastards. Christ. What are we supposed to do? I was supposed to start episode 2 today. Oh man, okay. So how did it go? Well, how should I put this? Oh my god, Fran! Oh my god, there they are! I didn't find shit. Only reason she ever got to a door is because I chased that scarecrow of a platinum plant through hell and back. Frankly, it was a godlike feat for me to go nail down anything as concrete as an address to these cogs. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. Net slang for a spy or undercover police officer. Derived from groundhog. That's awesome. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. But did you find a psychiatrist's office? Sort of? They said they were in the place that looked the part. Why? Because they had couches? She didn't get past the receptionist. Sorry, I thought because you're with the company. No, I wanted to help. I just wish I could have done more. Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to believe, even half as useful as I am. For what it's worth, the atmosphere, the looks, the furniture, it did feel like the company in there. But ultimately, we don't know if David actually was talking to someone or just getting his CCE training recertified. Sorry. Don't bother apologizing. She only cares about results. You did more than enough, both of you. At the very least, they divided Noble's attention for a while. I mean, good work, Fran. And thanks for the urgency. If you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. 30%'s the going rate in my industry. How about I take 5% off your tab instead? Tab? I'm a minor. The state pays for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no! Signal must have cut out. Right. Surprised it took them this long. What do you mean? You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR, but today, you're the lawyer who put the company's hottest product right in the state's crosshairs. I'll be alright. I'm an officer. I'm still an officer of the court. On a strict timeline though, right? I guess they can't stop you from investigating the corporate campus, but they'll gladly lose your guest pass ID at every door along the way. There's still service passageways and stairwells, guards that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated. If I use my other skill set to get around. So take mine. What? Your pass? I'll tell him we got ours mixed up in the bathroom or whatever. I can be a pretty convincing klutz when I need to be. I would have never guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career... I can be a pretty convincing crybaby when I'm in trouble too. Besides, the one and only Dr. David Asher wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him. Since he kept forgetting that he already had. And who knows, maybe I should try to find a new field. This detective work stuff is pretty fun, so maybe, like, I don't know, secretary for a homicide detective or something? You did say cops are all lazy. A girl with a managerial skills could go far. Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could afford you. Oh, that's sweet. I like Jess. I know Morgan's playing, but you know. I like Jess. Yay! Oh my god, we're back with Dawes. I liked him. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Morgan, how did you get so turned around? God only knows. Lucky I found my way here, though. It's such a relief to see a familiar face. Right. Listen, Morgan, I'm not sure I should actually be talking to you without legal present. Oh. I mean, leadership hasn't even told us how David died. How much help can I be? I see. It's not that I don't trust you or anything. It's just, I think, what with the Sarah issue, you should do whatever you have to do, to protect yourself, David. Or Dawes. Sorry, whoa. Ouch. Yeah. Though for what it's worth, I doubt you'll be in any trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. Oh. No, if anything, it's the big names who are going down. Going down? State was practically licking its lips when I finally left the courthouse last night. They're hungry for blood, and looking to carve out a huge slice of Noble's flesh. What, like fines and jail time? In the first 2 weeks, sure. Then, sanctions. We can't sanction Noble. We're too big to fail, too valuable to lose. You're exactly right, that's what they'll say. And that's how they'll justify nationalizing the company. We got a new term, sanctions. Yes, financial restrictions. Wow. And that's how they'll justify nationalizing the company. I think I'm gonna be sick. I just hope your board goes quietly instead of what? Scapegoating, offering up smaller names on silver platters, full cooperation and government oversight on the surface, and a slaughter beneath as they clean house and rip out anyone who could testify. No one will believe you once you're labeled a disgruntled former employee, right? And if the public's lost faith in the Animate 16, they can't do a recall, not on this scale. The state will make them do a flat refund. Flat refund? The losses would be... Yeah, your board probably just wants Sarah to go away so they can focus on their fight with the state. A tough fight, but they know they won't personally have to risk anything in. That's why I'm hoping I can win this trial. Huh? Well, if I won, that would mean Sarah's not an AI. David Asher was always of sound mind, and there's nothing wrong with the Animate 16. Everyone wins! Sorry, what am I saying? I only meant to stop by and thank you for your help yesterday. After all, you were the one that approved Sarah's registration. You win. Win what? Ask away. Well, if you insist. Oh my god, tenants. Wait, tenants locked? What did I miss? Oh no! Oh no! Terribly bad news. Okay, whatever. Okay, Noble and AI. Humor me for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI? Same as any rational company that wants to make money. We don't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products with their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for marketing, not product development. We spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there's no risk, because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenets are, because you use Tesseract. Trying to code an AI and test is like trying to pick yourself up and throw yourself. Nonsensical and self-defeating. Your scanner showed Sarah was running on Tesseract yesterday. If the language is safe as you say, isn't that proof enough? Proof of nothing. For an AI lying to another system about the code you're running is child's play. And for an AI built by David Asher or something that simple would be better change the subject. Wait, so making an AI more than time takes more than time and resources. Isn't that an issue of funding? No, you can't just keep adding more data. The tenets underlie everything. The higher you stack, the more easily you'll topple. You make it sound like building an AI is impossible, even for David Asher. Any chance he'll testify to that? It sounds impossible. But he's dead, and it looks like it was his android that did it. So I guess he was just that good. Better than you'll ever know. Oh, okay, thank God, that unlocks tenants. I got scared. I know you're convinced tenants are safe. So how do you square that with what happened to David? There's a cat next to a dog. First thing that comes to mind is the dog to the left or the right. The cat is next to the dog? I'd say the dog is on the right, the cat is on the left. My cat is meowing outside my door, that's crazy. Sorry, I got so scared for a second. I thought that it was the game. You might expect half the people to say left, half to say right. But actually the answer is almost entirely dependent on their native tongue. Whether it's read right to left or left to right. The language they speak affects how they process information. Their language affects how they think. And it's the same for machines. People can learn new languages and it can change our perspective. But machines can never learn new source code, and every update's a reincarnation. That android did kill David, it wasn't because the 0 returned as a 1 somewhere. It's because there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. Yeah, unnecessarily cruel. Great. Noble spent months promoting the A16 as a culmination of David Asher's work. So now that marketing line is suddenly a huge liability, can you tell me how much he actually contributed? I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step of the process, but his design for synthetic motor neurons, that was the big one. The components that allow your warm androids to move realistically, it pushed the timetable for warm androids ahead by years. And yet, compared to what goes on in Sarah's brain 1,000 times a second, David was only giving the company the most meager of the fruits that his private work bore. So if Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, they would feel that he had been holding out on them. And the company, were they appreciative of his contributions? I'm sure the researchers that he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased. But the board was very enthusiastic. So that would spur them to be protective of David. Or would they fear that he was getting too much influence, becoming irreplaceable? No, they would need a motive to justify killing the golden goose. Mere paranoia isn't enough. With these people, it has to be the bottom line. And the easiest way to threaten their bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that's happened, one has to wonder if the A16 is compromised. I stayed up all night sick with dread at the idea, but the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. I need to stand up. I've been sitting for over an hour and it's killing me for some reason today. Okay, sorry, we're back. I had to go upstairs. Like, I needed to stand upstairs instead of the basement. I needed to see sunshine. David Asher, I'm going to get you, man. Oh, boy. Okay, save again. I like Dawes. Actually, let's see his... Oops. Okay, I misread. Alright, speeded ahead. The data doesn't support it. Sales have been strong. And the A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there was an issue, we would have caught it by now. And I would have been axed a long time ago. He's so cute. I want to see his profile again. Not David. Evan Dawes. I like him. Calligraphy. Struggles with solving captchas really gets me. Me too, man. God. Okay. How many A16s are out there right anyway? We just passed 9 million sold. Not flying off the shelves like the 14 or 15 so far, but the profit margin makes up for it. You mentioned data? Yeah, I practically got the spreadsheet seared into my retinas. What do you want to know? Yay! What do the error reports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues? Error counts are markedly low compared to last gen, mostly hardware complaints it looks like. Batteries running out too quickly, eye tracking off by a degree or two. Typical stuff? As glitched as it sounds, 99% of these things get fixed once they turn auto updates back on. So no killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern look like? They're distributed like you would expect. Places where there are more people, there are more Android coastal cities like ours, of course, have the most of both, and since the A16 in particular is marketed as being relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell well outside of population centers. They can do the rural hard labor jobs, but cold models can do the same work in with a lot less maintenance. So where has the A16 outperformed then? Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of hospitals and offices, and you know, adult industries. Oh. Sorry, I didn't mean to be blunt, but no, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to the touch and obedient. I'm just surprised to hear it from a company employee. There are a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it, but I work in quality assurance. I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening. Damages? What we call it when a customer tries to return a product that's clearly broken beyond repair. Ew. Very high turnover in the pink market. Hasn't stopped you from selling to them. Well, we don't sell to them, not directly, but there are resellers and the company's never going to pretend to be interested in going after them. Are there resellers? I thought I read the right to repair got shot down again. There's been a gray market for softer androids for years or decades, depending on your definition of android. Based on the sales numbers I've seen, RTR getting canned was barely a blip on the radar. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable with the topic. Huh? Me? No, I don't care. I just realized my left sock's on inside out. Damn, now I'm wondering about that myself. He bought that? That's really funny. Oh man. God. Sorry, I reposted my Blue Sky post and Willow responded. That's just... I smile. Okay. Time to talk about shipping! The floor is basically a showroom, but have you a real factory a while south of the city limits, correct? Yeah, biggest company manufacturing complexes in the hemisphere. Got any data on the shipping out there? Anything stand out? There's some prep work for the holiday bump, looks like. Might sound early to get started now, but we usually see... Huh. Something wrong? No, the numbers are all normal, but the data has been edited. Is that unusual? Well, this section is just a count of how many were sent where. There's not a lot of room for errors, so there shouldn't be a need for corrections. This is no problem though, I can just view the edit history and see what was fixed. Okay, that's weird. Was something added? Deleted? No, the overall sum's the same, it's just a bunch of swaps. Like here, 29 FFCE, 103, 11 taken out, returned for adjustments, 27 FCDD, 19634 substituted in, shipment leaves on time. Returned to assembly for revisions, replaced by shipment leaves on time. So, does all of that strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes? Replacements before shipping isn't uncommon, but when it happens by the batch load. spot individual unit perfections among a shipment in that stage of the process? It must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority. Probably both. Must have. So you don't know who made the changes? I can tell you there was somebody important. Small and last-minute changes to which androids got shipped out, not very juicy on its own. And it's a long ways away from explaining why someone would want to kill David. But it was hidden, and that means someone didn't want it found. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Sure, did you find what you were looking for? Hell if I know. Fair enough. Any other questions before I go find a hole to hide my head in? I'd like you to take a look at this. Chemistry's a little outside my purview. What's this? A compound found in David Asher's blood. Poison? What is it? It didn't match anything in the database the medical examiner had access to. That's crazy. Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See, if it's a match for anything in Noble's internal databanks. We, don't make poison here. I'm not sure what that would accomplish. No, but this is a factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You would still have hazardous materials around. You think it was something industrial? I suppose it could be. It's carbon-based. Narrows it down a lot. It's not exactly... What is it? It doesn't make any sense, but it's a match for patent NOD 52345S. A synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components. Serotonin. That explains a lot. A neurotransmitter would interact directly with the nervous system. In David's case, depressing it enough to put his life in danger. It also explains why he was a preset in his personal... Why it was a preset in his personal manufacturer. Sarah's nervous system, worth 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it. Girl. So they think that was what killed him? Helen Young led the development of serotonin, didn't she? Yes she did. I should go and ask her about its composition then. Not unless someone at her level wouldn't be able to answer specific questions about a compound formulated years ago. But she does have a reputation for being very detail-oriented. That works out nicely then. They say she's the type of person to micromanage how much water people drink at 15 minutes stand up. I heard a rumor that she once said bathroom breaks are timesheet theft. Aren't they? I'm kidding. But you should be careful about criticizing as a superior when people could be listening. Good thing we got privacy here in our office. No one but the two of us listening in. Thank you for cooperating, Dawes. When the state storms the building and starts zip-tying people, I'll let them know you were helpful. Yeah, nice joke. You are joking, right? One more thing! Actually, there is one more thing I wanted to ask you. What's that? How long have you been a corporate spy? Oh! No way! Oh! Oh man! Oh man! Dude! I know we had suspicions, right? Didn't I? Oh, I swear to God, I had suspicions. We talked about it. Oh my God. Because Dawes was the one that brought it up when we went to talk to Young about, like, the psychiatrist shit. I swear to God I brought it up. Dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. What? Yesterday you let us slip that you worked the consulting. Yes, the consulting! That's what I was talking about! Yes! Yes! I talked about this last time. That was like 2 weeks ago now. Dude. Hide your guard down because I'm not a part of the industry. I was a consultant. What are you talking about? When I walked in here, you said you didn't know how David died. But just now you called serotonin a poison. What? I just assumed if a chemical was found in a dead man. And I'm sure you've got practice answer to every logical point I could raise, so I'll just say this. Does the nervous guy bit really work on people? Wow, I love this. Keep your cool and people don't know what you're thinking. But if you act a little chumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Before they know it, they're spilling their guts to you just to have something to fill the silence with. Though it's not entirely an act these days. To answer your question, I did 3 tours in consulting. 4 quarters of internal affairs, spy hunting at the Western Division. Then 8 embedded at Howe Industries. 24 months wearing different faces, answering to different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves are completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under. So you're a spy for Noble. Retired. You're working 6 days a week. 5.5 days a week, and in quality assurance. He's cooked. Curse you, Samsung keyboard. Oh my god. Survive, Nate. Trust me, this position is cushy, generous reward for my past services. Well, you can't be that retired. You clearly know more than you're letting on. I have some old inboxes I still check. So can you tell me what the hell is happening around here? Why I'm the one investigating David's death while your old coworkers are off twiddling their thumbs? It's that story. The soldier, the blood transfusion. Blood, not oxygen. He's finally shooting straight. Did something happen to him afterwards? Did the transfusion not last? No, there's nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier and he did get injured. But it was on our base during a training exercise. There was a medical tent 10 meters away the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous life test. His life was never in any danger. Doesn't make for much of a tearjerker. Not even a good photo op. Which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got a hold of the story and started puffing it up after chirping and painting over socials and virals. By the next morning we had the military thinking we're leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media is bombarding us with requests for videos and interviews and data, and the state's praising our tech with one side of their mouth while threatening to mist us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone in Noble CCE has been slammed ever since, trying to find an off-ramp for the story so we can walk back the claims on without torpedoing our state contracts. I don't know what happened to Asher, whether it was AI gone rogue or a company invited gone too far. But I could tell you it wasn't done with our consultants. Uncover the power plays at work inside of Nova Electronics. What a beautiful thing. I can tell you it wasn't done by our consultants. That's all you want us to know? Psychiatrist. You worked in CCE. Was David actually seeing a psychiatrist, or was that all cloak and dagger bullshit? I know that office. Some old co-workers who see them. So it's a front? They do both. Shit. So he was probably getting training, and he was probably talking to someone. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for. Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I expected was... You okay? That's all. Unless you got any advice. You're saying you want a consultation? Couldn't hurt, right? This company... all of these companies hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're fighting for them. Well, that's just business as usual for me. Yup. Alright, are we gonna go see Young again? Beautiful Helen? God. Hi, Willow. You know, oops, that's tab. I did not mean to press tab. God, good morning. 2 weeks ago when we played last, and we learned that, Dawes was in consulting at one point before going into quality insurance, and then we went up to Young's office, and she told us the secret about consulting and how they're actually corporate spies. I said, wow, I think Dawes might be a corporate spy. And I was right. Former spy, retired. I love him so much more than I did before. I knew it. That's okay. There's always the VOD and it's only been like an hour and we haven't even got to episode 2. Jesus Christ, David. I hope you're doing well. By the way. Wait, actually, did DAWs ever change this? Okay, nothing ever changed. I was curious. Up until now, there's been this grating ambiguity about what actually killed David. We've had to use guesses and process of elimination and even a goddamn pseudonym. But I finally identified what the poison was. Now I just need to figure out how it got there. Or rather, who put it there. Which brings me back to here. An elevator shaft somewhere under or above ground with kilometers of concrete facelessness and a bureaucratic authority surrounding me on all sides. An enemy in every cubicle and every office of every floor of this temple, built to interpret me instructable divinations of a temperamental oracle named Shareprice, back in the belly of the beast. And yet I feel more at ease now than I have all weekend. Makes sense. Now that we know Noble's my enemy and know where to aim, all that's left to do is pull the trigger. Good thing I didn't bring a knife to this fight. I brought my gun. And that just... and that sound just now tells me it's playing its role perfectly. I'll never have a real use for a firearm with this much bloatware, but by carrying around and paying attention to when the hard safety flips on, I'll always get a heads up when the police have entered the vicinity. Hi, Detective Reyes, it's Morgan. Oh my god, chuckles. Happy to get your contact info when you cleared me for the crime scenes yesterday. Delete contact. Block this contact. Stop voice to text. How to stop voice to text. Just wanted to check in. Report this contact voice to text. This contact voice to text disabled. And advise you that Noble's scared shitless of you stomping in and nationalizing the place. So they might be a little uncooperative when it comes to fetching documents. Block this context, what makes you think we're at Noble? My bad then. Forget I said anything. And whatever you do, don't start your investigation with their stock buyback program. Trying reverse psychology, it only works if you care if I care what you think. Stop voice to text. It's reading like a Twitch chat message. Text to speech. Oh my god, yeah. About time. I thought I'd have to ride the elevator for the next half an hour. Morgan, counselor, your presence has been requested in the upper floors. Deja vu. Might you have a moment to speak in private? Always, but who's asking? The board. What are their chances? I've been waiting to speak to them too. Oh, that's scary. I love Rhea so much. Me too. I'm so excited. Yay! Hi, Helen. Oh my god. Sorry, her blue is so beautiful. Helen Young. Thank you for making time in your schedule. Her posture, her tone, the fold of her clothes. Professional. Dialed up to 11. Corporate armor, full set. Her guard is up. Just Morgan is fine. You're a few minutes early, Morgan. Typical corporate, never be the first one to show up, pissing contest nonsense. It doesn't even make sense. They called me in here. How could I possibly be early? Oh, this is a good question. Do we play the game or flip the script? I want to flip the script on her so bad. I think it'll be funny. Oh man. We're not in anything important yet, so we'll save at least. Oh, that's embarrassing. I didn't mean to catch you all off guard. I'll go back outside so in that case, so you can all collect yourself. I'm just surprised that a Noble Electronics could screw something up as simple as a meeting start time. But I'm not well versed in the art of staring at emails. You've made your point, counselor. Don't push your luck. Not with these people. Might I dare to ask who these people are? You don't have time to remember their names, and it won't do you much good either. Right, so they're not just rich, they're anonymous rich. The Mob Act guarantees a minimum level of security and peace of mind for any citizen who might be targeted due to their financial status. I want to steal that. The Mob Act, the Protection of Reasonable Anonymity Act. Wow. Okay, it's just hindering mob justice so billionaires don't die. Okay. Huh. That's scary. I don't know. Oh, I like this music. The Mob Act guarantees a minimal. Okay, I just read that one. Oopsie. Spoken like a true believer. Except Mob Act is what normal people call it. Tooting the party line, but allowing yourself one instance of rebellion, or just a slip of the tongue. I would never fault anyone for wanting their privacy, especially not job creators. Wow. But it must get pretty inconvenient not having a name to call them. Not really. Conversations with them are always one-sided. Sounds like a great environment to do business in. Look at the building you're standing in. We managed to eke out meager profits somehow. So if it works. It didn't take you for a might makes right type. And I didn't take you for a clueless bore incapable of reading the room. Sorry, did I say something off color? I was only being casual since it's just the two of us here. Maybe we should take advantage of this rare bit of privacy and clear the air. You're here to ask about Sarah, yes? As I said before, I had no idea that Dr. Asher had been building an android on his private property. And I can say here and now that no one at Noble Electronics ever suspected that he was working to undermine the Tenet framework. She's trying to sound candid in her tone, but she's choosing her words with a surgeon's scalpel. Was she coached? Is that the truth, or is your statement as VP of Android Futures? It's both, of course. Dr. Asher was always more than happy to hold himself up and work independently. We both know that. True, he could be pretty reclusive. I'm sure it caused all kinds of headaches, him disappearing on you all like that. Must have been especially difficult when he came back with breakthroughs that propelled Noble to the top of the industry. You should take a seat. If that's everyone, shall we begin? Friendly bunch. Is there a problem with the sound? Anyone get muted by accident? No. Okay. Thanks for having me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm actually a bit flustered having you all show up here. I didn't expect to talk to anyone higher up than a service associate. You're investigating the death of Dr. David Asher. Why wouldn't we take that seriously? Because you want me to go away. Why are you blue? I am obsessed with how Morgan is anti-corporate, anti-authority. Not because the effects of megacorps and the police state on people and society, but because of the problems they cause her specifically. Yeah! Me too! At least half of you do. The others aren't sure yet. You must be confused. The board is, as always, united in its decisions and its visions for the direction of this company. Uh-huh. A board of directors is just 13 roulette rolling psychopaths who get together and vote on whether or not to execute their CEO every 6 months. None of them would be where they are if they were anything else. But I happen to know that how that kind of person thinks. The way I see it, there are two possible outcomes. Option 1, you oppose me. Shut me out completely, stonewall me, stall me, and wait for me to walk into trial so unprepared and ill-informed that I inevitably lose. Obviously, I don't like this option, but you can't be big fans of it either. If I lose, the world will learn that David Asher was killed by an android he programmed. Then every customer you've ever had, and every lawyer they've ever seen on TV, and every firebrand strapping young 60-year-old junior senator looking to make a name for themselves will use your company balance sheet as their personal chew toy. The company is more than capable of, after which the state might just gobble you whole and throw down enough sanctions to G-person whomever among you cries, "No fair!" The company and its allies at the Capitol can more than fend for themselves. Yes, probably, but not definitively. Not definitely, which makes it a gamble. Still my turn to talk? Then on to option 2. You cooperate with me. I use what you give me, or forge for me, to win at the trial, proving that David was killed by an android. When the market's open tomorrow morning, you all get another round of stock buybacks and on the initial dip, and then pat yourself on the back for staying calm as you continue to profit off of David's legacy for the next 100 years, and you won't even have to worry about him speaking out of turn. That's only if you win. If the woman... Sorry, I was reading Nate's message. Kudo... Stop. Oh my god. I almost called the company the woman. Oh, I'm so turned around today. If the company cooperates with you, denies that David was killed by, and the state beats you anyway, it would be catastrophic. Yeah, it's a gamble, but at least some of your board wasn't considering taking it. I wouldn't be here. We're all busy people, and I'd hate to drive a wedge between such a close-knit group of friends, so how about this? Option 3, hedge your bets. What? Put a little on black, put a little on red, spread the love, and lower your risk profile. Don't make any statements about the trial. Tell the media the state's got your windpipe and a vice. Wait until just before the markets open Monday morning to send out your PR package for rubber stamping, after you already know who's won. One way or another, the trial will be over before the end of the day, and you'll never hear from me again. So just don't shut me out completely for another few hours. And does anyone second that motion? Very well. We can answer some of your questions, counselor. Better make them count then. No reason to be shy now. The poison that killed Dr. David Asher has been identified as serotonin. You're familiar. It's one of our many patented materials, as I recall. You recalled it pretty easily yesterday. Gee, what's changed? But intellectual property law can be very complex, counselor. I'm not sure how much I or anyone at this company could tell you about serotonin this time. Well, if you can't tell me about it, who could? You did lead its development, didn't you? Yes, I oversaw the project, which just makes it that much harder to speak freely without compromising the confidentiality of the teams that report it to me. I understand. That sounds like bullshit and I don't believe it. But I'm not asking for trade secrets here. It's a perfect match for the only foreign substance found in his blood. Serotonin is what killed him. The state will say the same. That's not possible. Care to elaborate? I'm sorry, but I can't say more at this time. So much for cooperating! And if I were to ask you as an officer of the court, then I would ask you to be patient and wait till this afternoon. ADA Rockford has already called me to testify. Already? Damn it! I got cocky because of the cop's late arrival. I must have gone straight for the throat first thing this morning and left the investigating for later. Yeah, that sounds like bullshit. I don't believe it. Same this reaction. That's so cool. Hell, knowing her, she's probably managed to ID the serotonin before she went to bed last night. So are we still having this conversation then? As I said, I'm sorry, but I have to take more than just my personal feelings into consideration here. There's a great deal at stake. Corporate speak for you're too stupid to understand why I'm being dense. She's just trying to shield the company, plain and simple. LARPing as Helen Young, the Ark on the crusade against the government overreach. But if she's that busy defending Noble, she might be leaving herself unguarded. Why is she here anyway? Why am I speaking to her and not her lawyers? That's right. This is a vulnerable position for her. She wouldn't put herself in check like this. Not unless she was forced to. Oh boy! I love gambling, so that's it. Acting as her mouthpiece is some honor for her. This is punishment. She's being used as a meat shield. They're upset with her, perhaps even suspicious of her. Time to find out why. Oh boy! I don't know why I did that. I'm so excited though. Okay, let's ask about David's will. Has David's will been located? It had never gone anywhere. It's still in the safety deposit box. We'll retrieve it and have it read once all unknowns surrounding his death have been made into knowns. So David's will hasn't even become part of the equation yet. Might not be for a few weeks at this rate. Is that calculated though? What is she gonna ask? Aren't you dragging your feet? No, we're not gonna ask her that. That's evil. Jealousy. I have to admit, I'm surprised you aren't more shaken up today, Miss Young. I'm processing. After all, you and David did have a history. You started at the same time, didn't you? Yes, we were colleagues and cordial with one another. Just colleagues? Oh! Don't be so modest. You helped him create the one-point doctrine, and that saved the company. That is a gross exaggeration. Noble is far too large an organization to be affected by the contributions of any single individual. Suppose you're right. No one person could change Noble's fortunes overnight. Except for David Asher, of course. But he was a once-in-a-generation talent. The guy Noble chose for the advertisements. And the one they commissioned for editorials about. Sorry, you're right, I shouldn't have equated the two of you. I just hope his one-point doctrine doesn't fall out of favor now that he's gone. Yes, well, we certainly wouldn't want that. Well, she didn't exactly explode with rage, but she definitely reacted. There's still real jealousy there. Whether it ever boiled over, though. Alright. Oh, yay! It looks even better now. David and Noble. I didn't mean to pry about your relationship with David, or lack thereof. I suppose that I'm just curious about his standing inside Noble as a whole. David Asher was, and always will be, an outstanding contributor to the company's forward progress. Nothing will ever change that. Not even if he was killed by one of his own creations. That, of course, would be a tragic element that would call for reconsideration of his legacy. She was almost off guard there. Like she was surprised for me to be asking about Sarah ruining his reputation. Did David ever anger the board? Sorry, I like this screen so much because if she stays, her eyes go back to normal, but if she presses, her eyes stay black. Yes. I feel like we should press this one. I think that's a good idea. Right? I think that's good. Besides Sarah, David's reputation was crystal clean. He never went against the company once. Did he? That's... Unless I'm mistaken, and he never were on bad terms. In that case, I might get the impression that some parts of the leadership were actually glad to see him taken off the chessboard. That's not... something buzzing in your ear? Fine. I suppose it makes no difference if you hear it now, or at the trial, or on your feed tomorrow. Dr. David Asher was being sued by the company for breach of contract. Yay! Satisfied? And now we're talking. Well then, I suppose that's... Blackjack. Yeah! Oh my god. We did it. So you couldn't have mentioned this breach of contract earlier? Not without complicating the company's position unnecessarily, no. But there's no hiding it at this point. It'll all come out soon enough. There's a paper trail? Much more than that. We've been making moves to let him go for some time. Noble Electronics parting way with David Asher. Must have been one hell of a breach of contract. What did he do? He betrayed the confidence of the board. Was he contesting the suit? Putting up a fight? Engaging in a legal battle against a mega corporation without even telling me? Until recently, yes. You mean until he died? How recently? We spoke on Friday. That was what you talked about in his parlor. No, this was earlier in the day. We were in his room, actually. Him, me, and several members of our legal department. It was in arbitration. And did you come to an agreement? A compromise. He would resign from his position in 2 quarters, forging royalties on any products we would develop after the next 24 months. In exchange, he wouldn't be publicly fired, and he would still be credited on all past, present, and future filings. How very reasonable. On paper, maybe. No matter what the deal was, letting go of David Asher is insanity. Reasonable, yes. We ended on a good note, I like to think. We shook hands, even took a photo. Ugh. That's evil. Yeah, that looks lovely. That's evil as hell. Oh, I miss him so bad. We never even really met him as a player, which is so sad. Something funny? Didn't know the board told jokes. They don't. That was legal, expressing their displeasure with how much paperwork my good note ending left them stuck with. Children. It was just one night of overtime. So while they were spending their Friday night blowing ink dry, you paid a visit to David's penthouse. Something left unfinished? Professionally, it was a good meeting. There was no yelling, no finger pointing. Much cleaner than expected. But Dr. David Asher did not want to retire. He did not want to be forced out of the company when he was the one when he had contributed so much. I didn't enjoy doing that to him, so I came over that night to apologize to him. We talked, reminisced. When he brought out the drinks, I thought we'd be toasting to a new day. A few minutes later, he was dead. Because of that AI. That AI. Any idea how it came to be? As I said, I had no idea he was working on it. My question was more broad than that. If you really believe David built an AI, how do you think he did it? How does Noble Electronics think he managed to work around the tenants? It's quite beyond my area of expertise, and no one at the company could call themselves an expert in illegal technology. But he created but in some R&D department, we have theorized that he created what they call a wax-wane decaying priority loop. Which, as I understand, is an unstable, resource-intensive theoretical method for pseudo-randomizing the weight present among present tenants. Well, that's about as far off target as it gets with that guess. But that kind of inelegant brute force nonsense seems a far cry from the kind of thing David would create, and I seem to have taken us over our allotted time slot. I didn't even get to wave goodbye. You're serious about this trial. Don't I look it? You're not just making a play. You're actually going to defend that thing. I'm just defending myself, Miss Young. Oh yes, of course you are. My mistake. I hope you might be rooting for me, to tell you the truth. I may yet save everyone's stock options. The stock options will be alright either way. They always are. That gamble I offered your board, what outcome would you bet on? Finally, an easy question. What I would bet is that whatever the outcome, the company will eat it up and shit it out with very little difficulty. You painted an ugly picture back there, but I've already seen the future. And it's just another marketing gimmick. The great Dr. Asher, too smart, too bold, and too ahead of his time. What spark of his genius remains buried in the inspired Animate 19? I guess that depends on... You were exactly right. He is more valuable to Noble as a dead man. Dead men can't step out of line or put their foot in their mouth or hold politically inconvenient opinions. To a good salesperson, a dead man is just another selling point. Pardon my outburst. I'm just tired. It's been a very long week for me. I'll let you prepare for your afternoon then, Dr. Young. No one calls me doctor. I asked them not to. You didn't want the title? At times I have thought very little of it. The PhD I earned from a Noble-owned school. Biochemistry. It couldn't have been a large department at Noble before they started to work on warm androids in earnest. They probably didn't have many expectations for the program back when she was a part of it. But I was proud of it when I first got it. Something changed. It never seemed to catch on. People didn't use it, so eventually I told people not to use it. A very high IQ social power play. You understand. David never insisted that people use it either. That's very different, and I think you know it. David Asher didn't have to. Yes, because people hate women. And also David was David. I'm going into this trial, my trial, with a lot less ammunition than I like. I'm beginning to form a picture of what actually happened. Maybe even circling the drain on the suspect, but Emma won't be generous enough to give me breathing room. She'll want to end this fast. Maybe, if I do badly enough, it'll flip her sadistic switch and she'll want to keep playing. Oh, my phone! Oh my god! Welcome back! So you got charged with owning an AI? First time you do something exciting in your whole life. And I gotta find out through the freaking grapevine? My life is plenty exciting. Freckles. You could bore the polish off a resume checking robot. I fucked Catholic school teachers with more active nihilists than you. Oh, if only you knew. Okay. So who'd you rope in? Anyone I know? Oh shit. Are you representing yourself? Fits within my budget? Screw your budget, you're going to jail! Thanks for the vote of confidence. It ain't a matter of how good a lawyer you are. Anyone who represents themselves in court has a fool for counsel. You represented yourself countless times. Not for anything I had a chance of losing. Your pal isn't even dead 48 hours. You're too close to this. You'll make mistakes. The powers that be really didn't want to give me a rain check. They're taking this very seriously. It's more dangerous than that. You're scared. Is there a precedent? An ad committing murder? How'd you pass law school without learning to look this stuff up? And know what the net says? I'm asking you. The answer to that is not helpful to you at the moment. Grown-ass woman, by the way. So what words of advice do you have? Get yourself a new lawyer. Gonna close this chat now. Don't lose, Freckles. You don't need to tell me that. Yup. I wanna pull up her profile again. Oh my god. I can't wait to actually meet her, for real. Emma, please get bored and start playing Fidget Tubbies during the trial. We need this. She starts playing gotcha games. Oh, that's so scary. I like it. Oh. Okay. Sorry, I'm putting my phone back up. I picked it up for a second. You don't need to tell me that. Sarah! What are you reading on Adonai? Nay. I was reading David's employment contract with Noble Electronics before I got waylaid by spam texts. The ones they found inside the panic room? It looks quite extensive. Should I skim it for you? Depends. Did you pass the bar exam since we last spoke? You comfortable? I am not. Ever seen that old movie with the gorilla and the skyscraper? They bring it to the city and... I understand the analogy. I don't know. I wish I could call it overkill. She's canonically addicted to gotchas. That's hilarious. I love her. But considering the specs Sarah put up yesterday, maybe those bindings aren't heavy enough. Come to think of it, those numbers must have been faked along with the rest of what the machine read. If that was all smokescreen David asked to help her lay low, then her actual strength is more like... If your joints currently won't... If your joints weren't currently locked up tighter than a vice, do you think you could escape this place? I hope that question is not indicative of your strategy. This is me trying to distract you, Sarah. Enjoy the hypothetical. I would estimate that the building's automated security would put 9 holes in me before I reach that door. 9's not so bad. I would not be able to function after the 7th. Ah. Well, if you haven't been planning some great escape, I would not do that. That would be illegal. And you would still be on trial. I remember. So what have you been doing all day then? I am attempting to recover memories from Friday. You can do that? It is not dissimilar from the process of recovering data erased from any other computer, despite the differences in scale. I won't be able to remember everything, but if successful, I could recall individual pieces of information that could prove useful. That's a lot of coulds. And even if you're successful, you may not like what you find. Whatever happened that day, either you or David wanted to forget it. Yeah. Yes. But even so, I have to remember, because it's the last day Father and I... Any luck so far then? I can recall a slightly musty sun. Wow! Case closed! What about you, Adonai? Have you formulated a plan for the trial's proceedings? Something like that. Young insists that serotonin isn't what killed David, and I don't buy it. There's no other explanation for how he died. So she is lying. And if she repeats that lie on the stand, I'll need to expose it. Somehow. Somehow. Would she really commit perjury to protect Noble? To protect one of Noble's patents? She doesn't strike me as quite the corporate zealot she makes herself out to be. But you believe she had something to do with it? With Father's death? What do you think? I don't know. I don't know why anyone would kill Father. Considering the possible consequences of what he confessed in his journal, I can think of... But then again, I don't understand why anyone would kill anyone. Do you? Bell's tolling for 3. Means the doors of the courtroom are unlocked. Let's... Wait, can you walk like that? Waddle will have to do. Wait a sec. Across the hall, that's... Poor... Oh! Oh, hi beautiful. Holy shit. Oh no. Keep waddling, Sarah. I'll catch up. As you say, I don't know. This will be a coin toss. You that surprised to see me? I'm not surprised you'd want to see the outcome of this trial. I am surprised you'd want to talk to me. You're defending the android, right? That's a great question. Should I be clever with this guy? I can't be cool with him. No, we're being honest. Last time I tried to be cool with this beautiful, beautiful man, we lost credit. Yeah, I'm defending Sarah's innocence. I don't think she killed David. Do you? I don't think it matters. Noble is what killed David. Whether it was with a pen stroke or a sleeper agent, killer android, or a plain old goddamn arsenic, how could anyone that smart be that dumb? Why the hell did he ever sign his soul over to them? David may have been over his head, but he wasn't a bad negotiator. I've read his contract. His position was strong. You're the lawyer. But a guy like me, working in music? Can't tell you how many people I've seen screwed over by a big smile and a fat signing bonus. Being sincere seems to be how he rolls. Yeah, I like him a lot. I understand. If I was in his position, I wouldn't want this stupid lawyer to be, I don't know, funny with me. Sorry, I love his color palette. The pink, the red up here, and the pink. Ugh, sorry. I can't stop looking at him. The character designs in this game is so good. He looks so awesome. By God, okay. I want to pull him up again. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Can't tell you how many people I've seen screwed over by a big smile and a fat signing bonus. No such thing as corporate generosity. If you think you're getting a good deal, it's only because you don't know how much you just got sold. How much you just sold. David's real wealth lay in his intellectual property, the potential energy of it hanging over the whole industry. If he sued them, even 1% of the companies taking inspiration from his Turing solution. There's a clause in his contract. If Noble ever did fire David, he would have retained control over all his patents afterwards. Yeah, see, that sounds nice. Only they never did fire him, did they? He just happened to die. An unforeseeable act of God. In contract law, they call that force majeure. Oh boy. Loading into the next area. Jesus Christ. Oh, they're gonna kill us. We haven't even got to episode 2. I thought that maybe we would make it today. Oopsie. I said, did you find anything interesting in the contract, Adonai? A few things, yeah. Basically, David was well taken care of so long as they kept him around. Okay, wait. Save again. Okay. And he'd retain control of his patents even after being let go. But what Porter said. Logically, if David were to pass while he was still employed, Noble would continue to control the bulk of his IP, so if they knew David was going to leave in a year, it would be very foolish of them to let Father go. Well, they wouldn't do it for no reason. With this contract, the only way he could be fired for serious offense. He could only be fired for serious offenses. Corporate malfinesse, revealing trade secrets, fraud. Father was not a fraud. He was, as they say, the greatest of all time. The GOAT. Fraud just means lying to the company about something, Sarah. Oh. Eyes up. It's showtime. Counselor Morgan, the state charges you with possession of contraband. Contraband? That'd be you. In violation of safeguarding our National Digital Security Act. How do you plead? Not guilty. Very well. Since it seems that we are in fact doing this, I'll now turn over the administration of this trial to the adjutant. But be warned, any attempt at stalling or muddling the issue, and I'll step right in and override the trial myself. Summary judgment, siding with the people. Are we understood? Yes, Your Honor. Are we gonna have the same adjutant as we did before? No way. Each courthouse only has so many bodies, but the personalities swap around all the time, so the chances of us dealing with the same glitchy mess as yesterday are. Glad to be back. Did y'all miss me? Forget I said anything. I'll just go crawl under a rock and die while you all make your opening statements. The defendant is the owner of the Android registered under the model name Sarah with a license number 120292880. She hasn't contested this, and I doubt she will. So the question of ownership is already answered. All that remains is to determine whether Sarah qualifies as contraband. It is a charming android, incredibly well made, a masterpiece, and the last known work of a great man. Sorry, I stopped reading chat for a minute. They do make these cases weighty. Yeah. They're definitely multi-session. Yeah. I missed her. It's Addie. But when we look at the evidence and the facts surrounding the death of Dr. Asher, we're forced to conclude that the android is responsible for his death. And that conclusion carries very serious implications. I will prove here in court today that the machine standing there killed David Asher. Not through an accident or mismanaged dosage, but through an intentional poisoning. I won't ask the court judges on this machine. Wow. I won't ask the court to judge this machine on its apparent sentience, its range of emotions, or the free will it may or may not possess. I only ask the court judge this creation on what we will prove to be more than capable of. Patricide. Woof. Wouldn't want that. Wouldn't want to have to follow that act. But go for it anyway, defense. Your Honor, what the DA said is true. What did she just say? Did she just admit it? Sorry, just the first part. This android is charming, and it is a work of a great man. The rest of it was pure speculation based on a little more than a few bad camera angles and a phobia of anything new. I do own the android you see here. It was bequeathed to me by the man by a man known to most of the people in this courtroom as the father of modern machine intelligence. To me, he was just my friend. And if I thought at any point that this puppet had anything to do with his death, I would have dragged it to the shopping block myself. But I don't believe that. I never have. Sarah is an android, nothing more. It isn't capable of homicide, and it didn't even commit manslaughter. It is just a well-made machine, and any fears one has about its capabilities are projections, nothing more. And it troubles me greatly that the state is spending valuable time and resources on rushing to pulverize Dr. Asher's last known work, when it could be going after the very real, very human forces that were responsible for its death. Is she serious? Is she talking about Noble? The people can't prove Sarah is an AI, and truth be told, I can't prove that it isn't. But I can prove that it's not guilty. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Chills. You sounded very confident, Adonai. Yeah, well, no one ever got good at lying but being modest. You could have simply said thank you. Yay! It's London! Can I save? I don't think I can I? Oh. Oh wait, yes I can. I just can't load. That's the bit. I forgot. I'm a little dumb. I forgot about High Roller Mode's functions. I just want to make money. Thank you for your presence here today, Detective London. In light of new evidence, I'd like to go over the death of Dr. Asher one more time. What happened Friday night? At 6:30 p.m., David Asher spoke on the phone with his lover, and the two of them broke things off. Lover? It's an accurate description of their relationship, isn't it? I wouldn't know. That's just private. I don't know. Then the deceased met with Noble VP Helen Young in his parlor starting around 7:30. Then he left the parlor and the sightlines of the home security system before reappearing on his private secondary security system in the basement moments later, at which point the android Sarah can be seen handing them the poison he'd go on to drink. And do you see that android in the courtroom? Yeah, she's the green-haired one that's frowning at me. Let the record show that the android Sarah has been identified at the scene of the crime. No objections. None? Then why'd I even show up? Detective London, what happened next? Asher went upstairs, shared a drink with Miss Young. Within a few minutes, he was being airlifted to the hospital, where he was soon declared dead. And we know the poison could be produced by his nanofacturer, which Sarah had access to just upstairs at his workshop. So Sarah had ample opportunity to procure the poison, and Sarah handled Dr. Asher's cup immediately before he did. Is there a question in that statement, Your Honor? I'll rephrase. Was anyone else seen handling Dr. Asher's cup before he died? No. I have no further questions. So, that's your witness, counselor. He wasn't lying per se, but there was some ambiguity in the statement he gave. Truth's gotta come out one way or another. If anyone won't push, I'll have to pull. Talk screen, baby! Basement footage, whiskey. Whiskey. That's Isaac Porter broke up with her phone. At 7:30, Helen Young arrived. They spoke briefly. Cameras in the basement showed Sarah handing him the cups and the whiskey. So after he came back to the parlor and started drinking, it wasn't long until he lost consciousness and died. Drinking poison whiskey while he thought he was having a toast. Don't know if that's a good way or a bad way to go out. Heard a slight slip up in there. Could go nowhere, but at this stage I need to pick every loose start I can. It's this. The cups and the whiskey. 'Cause it was just the cups. Right? No! I forgot how fast it goes. Crap. That's open your mouth without thinking, huh? There's only room for one airhead in this courtroom, and it's not you. It's me. Of course, Your Honor. Nope, we're going again. Basement footage. Please. Wanna bet? Yes! Okay, thank God. Check that footage again, Detective London. We only see Sarah handing the victim a cup. He had already retrieved the whiskey himself. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Detective London was just wasn't being specific enough, Your Honor. But it matters little since it was David's cup, not the whiskey bottle that was poisoned. Weird flex, but okay. And that undeniable fact is shown clearly in the security footage. Sarah hands him a cup after he was ready to leave. True. She did call David back and handed him a cup of poison? Oh, that's a good question. That wouldn't make sense because he would see the liquid in there, right? What's the raise? That wouldn't make sense. That seems logical. I don't believe it. I want to raise. If the cup was already poisoned, don't you think David would have noticed it wasn't empty? Exactly. Well, not necessarily. The lethal dose could have been quite small. If it was just a droplet, it could have been easily overlooked. For Sarah, this crime was very simple. There was too little to plan for anything to go wrong. Once she handed it off, she just had to wait for him to drink from his cup. Is that all she needed to do? A drop wouldn't have been enough to poison David, right? No, no way. Not a great plan if that was really Sarah's move. She gave him 2 cups. How could she have known which cup David would drink from? Oh, that too. There are a few ways to go about it. But it's only a 50-50 shot, counselor. Stranger things have happened. Okay, it's possible she knew the right cup, or there was no way to know the right cup. Crap. We're gonna lose credit, but that's okay. I suppose I have to concede that. Indeed. By handing the cups to him. By handing the cups to him nested, she could also hide the droplet of poison up until the point he was already pouring. Sarah knew David to be a polite man, so he could predict that he would use the first cup for his guest and save the second for himself. This murder hinged on taking calculated advantage of Dr. Asher's kindness. Girl! Figures an android would never leave to chance. My money! She was luring me in there, an explanation ready to pounce, but I backed off early enough not to lose a whole limb in her bear trap. Now there are some questions that... Now, are there some questions you would like to ask the detective while he's available? Or are you done already? I was just about to get started. Even if I didn't have questions, I'd make some up just to spite you at this point. But I can do better than that. Now, what can I get London to say that would help my case? Ooh. Great question. Let's hear all of it, I think. Detective London. In their capacity as an assistant to the police force, are androids ever asked to commit acts of violence? Yeah, I guess so. They can push people, restrain them, harm them. And does that constitute a violation of their tenets, harming people they're supposed to protect? Well, as I understand it, there might be some complex weighting math that goes into it, but no, it's not breaking any tenets. For that to be the case, they'd have to have tenet 1, right? May not injure through inaction, lead to blah blah blah. Yes, I suppose that would have to be the case, wouldn't it? Are you asking me? This is far outside his expertise. Asking him these kind of questions. Why? I thought I could ask almost anything here before staying and pushing. Okay. Well, Sarah. He knows this. Detective, in the footage we just saw, could you see what Sarah was doing? Not exactly, no. Her back was to the camera and her hands were obscured. Could you see her hands from any other clip of camera footage recovered from the basement? No. Received from the basement. Did you or anyone else participating in the investigation ever see Sarah put anything in David Asher's cup? No, the footage submitted to the record is the best available view of what happened. Wouldn't Sarah's eyes record its... No, we won't have access to that. Alright, add involved crime. Detective, do you know how many violent incidents the city's police have investigated in the last year? Not the exact number. Thousands, though. Yeah, around there. And of those thousands incidents of violence, do you know how many of them were found to be the fault of automated defendants? I believe there's been 6 in the last 5 years. Were all 6 of them incidents of police license that involved brutality? Relevance, Your Honor? Withdrawn. How many tenants protect humans? Ooh. Ah, ooh. These sections do tend to trip me up. It's hard to see where they might go with them. Yeah. I start going really fast, so sometimes I'm not sure. I don't think it through quick enough, or long enough. I mean, I feel like asking him this might be a good way to go. We don't really have anything else. We need to get up there. As an aside, Detective, do you know how many tenants are recognized in this country? 110? 112 as of this year. Couldn't you have given me that one? Do you know how many of those tenants pertain to protecting humans from harm? That one I do know. 41. And lastly, Detective, how many times in the last, say, century have we seen automated tenants break their tenants? 5 times is the agreed upon number. So if you were to tally that up and try and make an evaluation as a police officer charged with protecting civilians, overall you would say automated dependents in general are how dangerous to the public? The witness is not an expert on automated dependents, Your Honor. He's more than qualified to say whether or not they have a history of violence, Your Honor. Ah, what the heck, let him answer. I would have to say that they are not dangerous. Normally that would have bought me some doubt with the jury, but this isn't a traditional trial. Ugh. Man. At least I could say I shored up my own confidence. Alright. Seems like that's as close as I'm gonna get to blackjack. Yeah! Yippee! I believe I've made my point. I have no more questions for this witness, Your Honor. Then we can move on to the next item on the docket. Looks like Emma wants to introduce some new evidence. I call Sarah to the stand. The android? Can she even do that? Approach, Your Honor? Oh, you're approaching me? Oh my god. I believe that it's me they wanted to speak with. I didn't even get to finish my line. Now then, what the hell are you doing, Rockford? You took the words right out of my mouth. I have questions for the android. This seems like the best way to get answers. You can't call an android as a witness. It's not a person. There's plenty of precedent for it. Ads provide testimony all the time. Not when they're on trial. Sarah isn't on trial. You are! Sarah's accused of being an AI. That means you don't trust a word out of its mouth. If the witness isn't to be trusted, the court can decide that for itself after hearing their testimony. Why the ambush? Why'd you list this as entering evidence, D.A. Rockford? Only people can be witnesses, Your Honor. Ads don't have illegal personhood. Evidence seemed like the best word descriptor. You know I can't make an android swear on oath. Rockford is just trying to spoil your opinion, Your Honor. The more this court treats Sarah like a person, the more you'll see her as human. And the weaker my case becomes in your eyes. Nice try, counselor. But we don't have time to worry about my impartiality. You're free to call for a mistrial if you want, but the state will have to turn Sarah to slag before you even finish signing your motion. Rockford's calling a witness that is blatantly hostile to her case. If the witness is hostile, so be it. It did kill a man after all. Allegedly. What about the right to avoid self-incrimination? Who's the one treating Sarah like a person now? Androids don't have rights. Damn it. The android will take the stand. Your Honor, I've made my decision. And if Sarah refuses to take the stand, if Sarah refuses to take the stand, are you going to charge her with contempt of court? If the machine won't talk, you'll make every effort as its owner to ensure that it does. And if it disobeys you, then we'll have her answer about its sentience right then and there. Yes, Your Honor. We're going to die. Shit. What's going on? The DA is going to question you on the stand. What? But I shouldn't. Listen to me. You don't have a choice right now. This is happening. Tell the truth, but be concise. The more robotic, the better. Yes or no's only, if you can. Would using affirmative and negative be laying it on too thick? But, I don't know. If I make a mistake, all these people, they want to destroy me. If you make a mistake, your lawyer will just have to cover for you. Understand? Yes. You are the android identified as Sarah, correct? Yes. Affirmative. Do you deny that this camera footage shows you handling the poisoned cup? Objection. It remains to be seen whether the cup itself was definitively poisoned. Yes, yes. Sarah, do you deny handling that cup to David Asher? Negative? I have no memory of this incident, so I can neither confirm or deny it. Do you have any reasoning, any excuse for your actions, for failing to notify police of crucial information? I do not have any records for that day, so I never had anything to tell anyone. Very well. Counselor? The journal, if you will. This could be a slaughter. Of course. Do you recognize this item? It's a journal that belongs to Dr. David Asher. I have seen him write with it on many occasions. And have you any knowledge of its contents? You don't have to answer that, actually. Tell the court what you see in this footage. I see myself reading the journal in the basement. This footage was captured Friday, the day you claim to have no memory of. So regardless of what you do or do not remember, we know that you read this journal hours before David died. That is logical. I'd like you to read some passages from it for the court. Can you do that? Of course. Page 238, 10th line. Sarah is growing faster than I ever expected, beyond my wildest dreams or fears. Today, Continue, please. Today she broke every password I have in the house. Said she was curious. I can't expect to keep things from her forever. Page 251, line 12. I've gravely underestimated the scope of things. Sarah could change everything, and I don't think I could stop her. He wasn't... Page 263. Damn it! This keeps up, Sarah's gonna fall to pieces up there. Ugh, we're gonna kill everybody. There's no objection to make. Technically, Emma's well within her rights to be doing this to her. Right? I don't have a leg to stand on here, and Sarah doesn't have a shred of legal protection to speak of. Yeah. I just have to let this play out. Page 263, I said. I think Sarah was angry today. When I came back from work, she had ripped his alloy plate in half. She said she was testing her strength with the cameras. That was page 267. Sarah scared me today. If she starts bawling on the stand, it's all over. Your Honor, I fail to see the value in continuing this line of questioning. Dr. Asher was wary of a highly experimental android he was building, as any good scientist would be. That's been established. Do the people have a counter-argument? I have just one last question if it pleases the court. Let's hear it. This footage was captured in the basement on Friday around 5:30 p.m. Tell the court what you see. I see myself standing where I was when I read the journal. I'm speaking to someone who's off camera, and I appear agitated, and I stomp my foot. And what happens to the floor after you stomp your foot? A large crack is made in the vulcanized polymer, and I walked off camera towards whomever I'd been speaking to. Speaking or shouting? Asked and answered. Not really, but I'll withdraw the comment nonetheless. Your witness? Counselor, or evidence, if you prefer. Damn. I wish she could cherry pick all the worst passages. I knew she could cherry pick all the worst passages from the journal, but still, if Barra wasn't wavering before, should I try to have Sarah read the mushy parts? No, the waterworks start only after a few lines. Emma went to all that trouble just to show how emotionally developed Sarah is, proving that she loved David like a father would be playing right into her hand. What do you say, Counselor? Got some burning cues for the android to answer? Yes, Your Honor. Just one moment. Emma went for emotion. The impact was devastating, so all I can do is focus on facts. So let's flip this around. Say Sarah absolutely didn't poison David. If that's the case, what did she call him back on his way out of the basement? Wait, that's... I'd actually like to ask you to read from the journal again, Sarah. You would? From where? From the section that explains what you were actually trying to do that night. The section of his journal detailing. That's a great question. I know we can't load, but I need to keep saving, so just in case I accidentally, like, close the game. Oh, man. David never told Sarah about, like, his early life, right? So his early career would be something really good for her. Oh, I get it. I get it now. She read, oh my god. She read The Ritual, didn't she? In the early career section? That's why she called him back for the cops. I get it. I get it. Sorry. Look around the early section. There should be an entry talking about an early victory at Noble. Relevance? The people will see in just one moment. This story is key to the entire case. Got approval from overseas. Just have to make a pitch again this week, Young says. Brought me a stack of plastic cups. Here's to a bright future together. And then this on the next page. Another victory for the young and sleepless. Helen convinced the president of Futures over lunch that my code should be the basis for the Animate 13's conversational tracking. She insisted on toasting, the same crappy booze and the same cheap cups. Wants to make it a tradition. Plastic cups and liquor, a ritual between Helen Young and David Asher, who were about to have a drink together Friday night. Something you want to say, counselor? Let's put all our cards on the table, shall we? You want to compare theories? If you'd rather I didn't now, I'd be happy to oblige. Here's what we know. Sarah read that journal and discovered what she was. It infuriated her. She wanted revenge for being kept under her maker's thumb. The very night she got her chance when Dr. Asher came looking for her drink. So, like the clever little helper she is, she offered him a cup to drink out of. We're completely in agreement on that. So you also agree that the cup was poisoned. And that Sarah is responsible for his death. Not quite. It's not a bad explanation, Miss Rockford. But it is terribly complex. There's a much simpler reasoning for why Sarah did what she did. Ugh, my lord. Young's story. Oh god, I don't know which one to use it on. Crap. Crap. It's gonna be this. Oh wait, I forgot I can only put it on the last one, right? The story from the journal? You're saying Sarah wasn't planning anything. She was being considerate. That's so sweet! But I don't follow, like, at all. It's actually quite simple. Sarah is not an AI. She only threw a tantrum that day because she found out she was being spied on. A realistic reaction for an android designed to be realistic. David Asher set her memory to be cleared himself because he wanted to preserve the experiment he was running. Sarah did not hatch a plan to poison him using an obscure chemical acquired from the lab. She did not subtly manipulate David into drinking only one of 2 cups. Because the android read the whole journal that day, meaning she also read how David and Young used to celebrate. So when she saw David was leaving the basement without the nostalgic cups, she called him back to hand them to him. Simple, right? Simple enough for me, but not nearly good enough for me. What's more likely, Miss Rockford? That a well-made, clever android proposed a sentimental addition to her friends this evening, or that a homegrown AI with the groundbreaking physical and digital capabilities, or digital abilities, concocted a complicated poisoning scheme. Just to kill an unimposing man. All on camera, mind you, before voluntarily submitting to a memory wipe. People make all kinds of stupid mistakes when they commit crimes, Counselor. We shouldn't expect an AI to act much differently. Is it stupid or dangerous? Can't have it both ways, Your Honor. We can if it's ignorant of its power and still immature. A deadly trait to have in an AI capable of anything. Shall we see what Sarah is capable of then, Your Honor? What? You can't be. Your Honor, that's... The people open the door. True. And I can't resist open doors. Let's do it. What are you even? Sarah, David Asher was your creator and designated owner, correct? Should I still be using affirmative? And now that title falls to me. Yes? Great, thank you. Now turn off. What? Shut down. That's a command. Power on. What are you? Off. On. Adonai, I don't... Off. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what this fearsome machine menace is capable of. I can put it to sleep with one word. So how could David Asher ever be threatened by it? Scary good logic. You've made your point, Counselor. Let's move it along. I have no further queries for the machine, Your Honor. I love this game. God. Thank you. For flipping you on and off and on. I can't imagine that was comfortable. It wasn't. But I wasn't referring to that. Since yesterday I've been searching for an answer to why I appeared on that camera. I know I would never hurt Father, but... You helped me prove to that prove that to myself just now. Adonai. Pardon me, I need to focus. Everything depends on this next witness. The people call Helen Young to the stand. Oh my god, we're so fucked. They got them. Oh my god. Okay. Helen Young, Vice President of Android Features at Noble Electronics, Eastern Division. Miss Young, you were there with the night David Asher died, and you were on camera the entire time. That's correct. I keep mixing up all of my voices. Bro, okay. That's correct. So what did you see that night? I arrived at 7:30 p.m. as you know. David and I talked in the parlor. Then he left to retrieve some refreshments for us. After drinking together for a short while, he felt ill. I contacted emergency services, and I'm sure you're all tired of hearing the same details over and over again by now. The same details over and over aren't going to hold up anymore, Madam B. It's still unclear to me whether Young's more concerned with protecting herself or the almighty company. But it'll clear up real fast if I can turn up the pressure on her here and now. Journal. Advertation. Young's story. I came to David's at 7:30. Chatted for a short while about some low priority work. Not true! Oh my god. The aberration. You liars. Wanna bet? Yeah! Oh, I knew. She said nothing heavy and I knew it. I had it. Nothing heavy? You're both more professional than I realized. Since only hours earlier you had a meeting in which his employment was terminated. His employment wasn't terminated at the aberration that you're referring to. His recognition was merely agreed upon. Yes, and we can all imagine how grateful he felt about the whole process. David didn't hold grudges. Our conversation wasn't about that. The fact that you had fired in the afternoon didn't come up. Asked and answered. Who initiated the meeting at his penthouse? I arrived unannounced. So you weren't invited. Very cordial indeed. If he didn't want to see me, he could have stopped me at the elevators. Could he? Could he have? Noble owned that entire building down to the wiring. Counsel is badgering the witness, Your Honor. Huh? Right, should we execute her for that then? No need. If I can just continue my questioning, we can finally start addressing the elephant in the room. Where? Ah, I see. That was merely a joke. Hilarious. Miss Young, Noble Electronics owns a patent for and produces the synthetic biochemical known as serotonin, correct? That's correct. It is used in our warm models to facilitate integration and communication between organic and synthetic components. It's an artificial neurotransmitter. Essentially, yes. Synthetic analog serotonin was the original name. Did you bring the sample I requested to the courtroom today? I did. Serotonin is produced on site at our assembly lines as a caramel tinted solution, including water and a few non-reactive organic byproducts. Your analysis, Your Honor? Working on it. It's odorless and tasteless. A solution of water and organic byproducts, you said. If that solution were ingested, most of it would look right home in a human body, I suppose. But the serotonin would stand out, wouldn't you say? It's not a naturally occurring compound, so yes. And it's a perfect match for the substance previously labeled as Delta. And the sample we collected from the manufacturer and present in Dr. Asher's lab. That's a bingo! The witness's brown stuff matches your brown stuff down to a T. In light of this evidence and the witness testimony, a motion that the court formally recognize that Dr. Asher can't cause the death of serotonin poisoning. I don't object, Your Honor. But I'm afraid that I must. Excuse me? Serotonin may very well have been in his body when he died, but serotonin didn't kill Dr. Asher. What? The hell is she up to? I couldn't have. I couldn't kill anybody. What? Because it's non-toxic, of course. We designed it to affect androids, not people. Hold on, now you're claiming Dr. Asher died of what, natural causes? I can't say what he died of. I'm not a medical expert. But I can easily prove serotonin is harmless. How could you? Like, so. Holy shit. Huh. Didn't see that one coming. What? What? That ain't good. But bailiff, contact the hospital immediately. I told you it's fine. But I can stand here all day if necessary. What in the... And what you just drank was several hundred times the amount found in Dr. Asher's body. Why didn't you say anything until now? Noble Electronics is a multinational corporation with patents filed all over the world. We take the protection of our trade secrets very seriously. The production and nature of serotonin is closely guarded. That guard remains up even during a murder investigation, unfortunately. I would have been able to tell you earlier, had you asked directly. What the hell kind of... This can't be right. Nothing else makes sense. Boy howdy, I'm lost as hell. But do you have any further questions, Rockyford? Not at the moment, Your Honor. And the defense? Prosecution's own witness just threw an entire case into the question. Normally this would be cause for celebration, but a shadow of a doubt isn't enough this time. Burroughs would much rather bring down the gavel early than let a potential AI walk free. What Young did was shocking, but I think it had. But what I need to do hasn't changed. Think this through logically. Is it really possible that serotonin had nothing to do with David's death? That's a great question. No, that's bullshit. Can't be coincidence. There's something else that would have killed him. But Young said, just drink serotonin in front of us and she's fine. So was it a fake? No, it was confirmed by the court computer to be a genuine article. So she drank poison, but it isn't showing it. But isn't showing any symptoms. Is it slow acting? If so, her grand gesture would be pointless and she'll be kept for observation regardless of what happens next. Did she take some kind of antidote beforehand? No, antidotes are developed for poisons, not industrial chemicals. David's dead, she's alive. What made the difference? Wake up, no sleeping on the job. I love this so much you don't understand. I'm so scared right now. Unless you're me. Of course, Your Honor. Allow me one moment to explain things to the court. We've just confirmed now that serotonin was the formal compound in his body. And we all know logically that it must have been what killed David Asher. So what's the key difference between what David drank that night and what she drank in front of us just now? That's a great question. That is a great question. He had a very specific allergy or something. That's a great idea. I don't know if our cards help us. Oh wait. This actually, it might be the chromofuge. Because... Ooh. Because it removes impurities. David didn't have a... David had the manufacturer make it. Yeah, just the circumstances. That's exactly what I was heading for. Because she would have gotten hers from Chromofuge just now. This came from the Chromofuge. This one came from his manufacturer. It's not removing the impurities that makes it pink. That turns blood pink and stuff. The witness must have tampered with the sample using Noble's machinery. That vial was inert by the time she drank it. You must have serious trust issues or a hearing problem. The adjutant already confirmed that the contents... Oh. Did I just... What? Okay, well... Never mind. Oh wait, it was added to whiskey. It was added to whiskey. The whiskey fucked with it. What am I doing? Well, whatever. Okay, the difference has been staring at us in the face this whole time. Do you recognize this, Miss Young? That's the whiskey bottle Dr. Asher and I drank from. Rose River. It's good whiskey. And I think you had the right idea. Pardon? Bottoms up. Oh my god. Smooth. What? Adonai. Dear God, counselor. It's scandalous. Relax, it's just whiskey tested a dozen times over, perfectly safe. So combining them makes it lethal. So would you like to try some, Miss Young? Don't be absurd. I'm not going to drink on the witness stand. Have you lost your mind? I'm not asking you to get plastered. Just have a sip. After all, if we want to prove whether or not Serotonin killed Dr. Asher, we'd have to recreate conditions under which he ingested it by mixing it with alcohol. Go ahead then, just a taste. Prove to us that serotonin is perfectly safe for human consumption. Is this... Can she do this? Miss Young. I never said it was safe for human consumption. Just that it's non-toxic. A distinction without a difference. You saw firsthand Dr. Asher's confused, slurring speech, complaining of headache, all symptoms of poisoning. Alcohol poisoning, that is. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter analog. Maybe it doesn't do anything in the human body on its own, but with the combination of alcohol, it acts as a powerful depressant. Girl! Just one strong enough to turn a glass or two of whiskey into a lethal overdose. That's just... Even if that's the case, what does it change? It changes whether or not we can accept this witness's testimony. Even if this witness is a liar, what does that change? Why would the witness lie if not to... She's a corporate climber. I imagine it's like breathing for her. Your Honor, this is wild, but ultimately irrelevant. Irrelevant? When you've yet to establish an alternative interpretation of the facts, yes. What are you even accusing the witness of doing, counselor, beyond angling for promotion? We've all seen the story by now. Noble androids save soldier life from warm blood transfusion. They're talking about putting more androids in the military just because of the headline. With the size of their flesh and blood price tag, a defense contract like that would secure Noble untold profit for years. So imagine the lengths they'd go to hide the fact that their androids have poison in their veins. Dawes told me the truth about what Noble really thinks of that article, but he'd never testified to it, so at least I know Emma's wrong about this poisoned blood nonsense. Yes! Because of the purifier! Okay, I was sorta on track, in a way. So, and you think she'd perjure herself for that? She's a high-powered corporate executive. It's her job to assess risk versus reward. And she can afford the fine. As I said, it's not truly poisonous. The chances of cross-contamination from a simple plasma transfusion are... Damn! Now she's regaining her composure too. Perjury charge is a real risk, of course, but Noble rewards loyalty. And as you know, they have a great number of lawyers. Plenty of motive to lie about serotonin, as you can see, but no motive for her to cover up the death of Noble's electronics golden goose. No motive to kill David Asher, you say? Not true. Don't drink it! Actually, it might be his contract. I'm trying to think. Yeah, why not? David's contract. Because... yeah, fraud. Lying. You can't do that. The lying. The lying. You can't be a liar! There's plenty of motive for her and Noble to want David dead, seeing how they were firing him. Noble Electronics is kicking their golden goose out of the nest, suing him over breach of contract. Isn't that right? I don't have to talk about that. That's alright, I'll talk about it for you. Your Honor, counsel is trying to testify when they're supposed to be questioning. People open the door when they claim that the witness had no motive. I like her scared, Sprite. This is absurd. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sure I can speak for the whole court when I say we feel nothing but reverent awe for the complexity of Noble's legal woes. But I just so happen to have an inkling of insight into the issue because I have a copy of Dr. Asher's employment contract. That is confidential. That's completely improper for you to... Why? I'm still technically his attorney. Criminal attorney. But I didn't just stumble across the document. I also did the one thing Noble Electronics would never expect anyone to do. I read their terms and conditions. You what? That's impossible. No one could ever. David must have negotiated well at his last performance review. This contract allows him to take his patents with him should he get fired, meaning Noble couldn't monopolize his IP once out. Rather than let their competitors have him, the company have thought it best to... A company did not poison David Asher, counselor. An individual did. And if they cared that much about controlling his intellectual property, they wouldn't fire him in the first place. Correct! They wouldn't let him go for anything less than a complete breakdown of trust. He'd have to have done something grave, something like, say, committing fraud. Just now you said there was a breach of contract, like it was some kind of technicality that was causing the split. But it was a number much more serious than that, wasn't it? You're claiming the victim committed corporate fraud? I love the scared Sprite. Ugh. Where's evidence for that? David created a deterring solution that everyone and their androids has run on to this day. Noble reaped the enormous profits, capitalizing on intellectual property. With how his contract was set up, they would never let him go unless they absolutely had to. Then what exactly do you think David Asher did? It's not what I think that matters, it's only what the company fears. Sarah, oh my god. What else do we got? We got Sarah, First and Last Android by David, Pincushion, Tenants, no, Manufacturer, no, Shipping Data, the swaps! Yes, the A16 swaps, that's suspicious as hell. That shows signs of a cover-up. Yeah, they're scared of him. Doesn't matter what I believe, not when Noble believed that David was misleading the shareholders by altering shipment data for the Animate 16. What the hell? What is this you're uploading? Shipping records? Irregularities among shipments of the Animate 16. One android sub for another, over and over, dozens of times. The kind of thing someone with Dr. Asher's authority can do. And the kind of things someone as smart as you couldn't have missed. Dr. Asher read Noble and told him about money, so why fire him over a few harmless swaps? Why elevate this to fraud? I don't know. They have trapped me in a playing card. Oh. You have evidence that it was David Asher who did this. Nope, but I wasn't the one who investigated it, so let's ask her. Come on now, let's hear it. Let's. The company investigated and found cause for serious concern. They suspected that Dr. Asher was inserting androids of unknown origin and quality into the 16th product line, introducing unpredictable elements in an extremely stable and profitable generation of androids. Now, why would he do that? For pride? As a practical joke? Does it really matter? He endangered the future of the company. So you prepared to fire him? Yes, I approached him as a superior and as someone he'd once worked with. I hoped to remedy the situation. Was this meeting on Friday part of those efforts? It was just the culmination of those efforts. In many ways, it was a success. The dispute was resolved swiftly. It was practically friendly compared to how these discussions normally go in our world. So you brokered the meeting. Yes. You oversaw its every detail, handled all the arrangements. Yes, of course. Including the refreshments. What? Did you provide coffee? Tea? No. Strange. It must have been a long meeting. Surely you at least provided... water? Surely you at least provided water for people. What are you asking, counselor? That's what I want to know. Me as well. We're past the point of asking. I'm accusing. Dr. Asher didn't have some kind of freak medical accident. He wasn't killed by some terrifying two-faced AI boogeyman. He was poisoned by this woman in the light of day at that meeting Friday afternoon. Did she really just... What do you mean poisoned at the meeting? That was hours before he showed any symptoms. As Ms. Young testified and demonstrated, serotonin on its own is harmless, but it becomes fatal pretty easily. You just need to convince your victim to have a drink. You're saying that he ingested the poison at noon and inadvertently triggered a fatal reaction with it that night? How could you get so far ahead of yourself? There were a dozen people at the meeting, counselor. None of them wound up dead. Are you seriously claiming they all drank poisoned water? All of them drank poison. Not all of them drink poison. That's a good question. Actually, didn't our lovely friend Dawes say that she was limiting water consumption or whatever? I think all of them drank it. Of course they all drank poisoned water. We're crazy. I love her. So why aren't they all dead? Because all of those people will surely attest Helen Young made sure they'd be doing paperwork for the next 12 hours. Oh yeah! Duh, I forgot about that too. Oops, I misread. I went too fast. Working late into the night. Because all of those people will surely attest Helen Young made them sure they'd be doing paperwork for the next 12 hours, working late into the night, officiating the settlement she arranged, and not drinking alcohol. She had no guarantee about that. What if they started drinking after 6? With Noble's work-life harmony? Fat chance. These people don't clock out until they reach their bunk. Only a generational talent like David Asher could afford to relax with a drink on Friday night. His exceptionalism singled him out as her only victim. Ugh. Hold it. You're forgetting something pretty basic, counselor. If everyone at the meeting drank water from the same pitcher, any one of them would have noticed that there was serotonin in it. Serotonin is a brown fluid. Whiskey is too, so it would be easy to slip it into a glass of liquor. But if she had spiked the water at the meeting with it, it would have looked disgusting. There's no way she could have poisoned the water without people noticing. I don't believe that. They have the filters, don't they? If all of what Emma said is true, and yet Young pulled it off anyway, how? Not the manufacturer. It removes pigment! It removes pigment! It's like I can hear the Ace Attorney voice lines. Yeah. Oh my god. It removes pigment. I got this one. Serotonin is produced as a caramel solution. Anyone would notice if it was dropped into water, unless the pigment had been removed. What the hell are you talking about? Every Noble factory producing warm androids has a chromofuge, a machine that gives their androids a signature pink oxidant. By removing the pigment from red blood. With a machine like that, it would be simple for a brilliant biochemist like the witness to take a caramel-colored serotonin and turn it into an odorless, tasteless, invisible poison. As your honor can attest. Yes, ma'am! My scan confirmed that serotonin has no taste or odor, and it's only the color that's off-putting. Surely the poisonous aspect should be considered off-putting as well. Time to press. David Asher, your oldest ally in the whole company, was sabotaging his future for the sake of someone who's busy. And he couldn't even be bothered to clue you in. No! Playing nutty professor and taking off early while you had to work around the clock just to stay relevant. He set up your crowning achievement, the most advanced, most profitable line of androids the country has ever seen. So it would blow up into the industry fiasco of the decade. And worst of all, he didn't stand to profit from it. You're wrong. You went into his house that night to watch him swallow poison. To get revenge on the man who left you in the dust. Your Honor, defense is testifying. The speculation carries no weight, and no amount of badgering will lend to any. True, we need proof. So why don't I have Miss Young take a swig of this whiskey and prove me wrong? Ha! I'm not going to do that. Because you're afraid it could kill you. Because I don't have to. She's right, Counselor. Pardon? Your theory is compelling, maybe even convincing. But there's a pretty fatal flaw to it. Young was at that meeting same as David. We can all see she was drinking water with the rest of them. And of course, we've seen many times now that she was on camera drinking whiskey with David that night. Having even finished most of her cup. So tell us, Counselor, how is it that Miss Young was still standing here? And David Asher is dead. Both of them had mixed alcohol with Cinetone that night. That is a damn good question. Shit! As I've been saying, you're wrong about Dr. Asher's death. You're wrong about me. I don't know anything about poison or murder. I wouldn't kill a man because he threatened the company's stock price. No, she did kill him. I could smell it on her now. She didn't see him die, she watched him die. Then why is she still standing? There's no antidote, no trick. That night she was on camera the entire time. No, not the entire time. She couldn't have been. There must have been one moment. Yeah, to the hospital. Oh, wait. Talking, drinking, David faints. This timeline leaves no window of opportunity, damn it! Maybe she didn't get sick because they got into the hospital so fast? Maybe after she arrived she could've— No. The staff would have been hypervigilant, afraid she was poisoned too. They wouldn't have let her out of their sight. Wait. David and Young only got there as fast as they did because of the VTOL. The VTOL was only summoned because she used— Would you mind terribly if I change the subject for just a moment? Oh my god. Okay, wait, we got it. Why not? You left the parlor at 8:03 and headed into the kitchen to use the emergency console there. Yes, I did. Didn't want to use your phone? I didn't think to, no. When the emergency call went out at 8:04, the console saw you take the call through its camera. Yes, it did see me make the call because that's what happened. So what were you doing in that minute? What? That 1 minute? That 1 minute? What about that 1 minute? 1 minute, or 50 seconds, or even just 45 seconds. When you left Dr. Asher dying in the parlor to get to the emergency console. It took you about 1 minute to cross 5 meters. What of it? This is it. Her only opportunity to do anything off camera that night. It was only a few seconds, but in that time, with something at the scene sheet. Oh my god, the washed glasses. Dude. After all, you had already swallowed the poison back at the meeting. You must have drank plenty of it in front of anyone to set up your alibi. Who knows how much of the toxic time bomb was swimming through your blood by the time the aberration ended. Then at David's, you downed your whiskey to perfect your alibi, having drank the same bottle as the dead man walking. By 8:03 p.m., you already had to watch David grow weaker and weaker. Knowing all the while, the same thing was happening to you, but unable to stop it without giving yourself away. Mind swimming, head dizzy. Yes, you must have been quite panicked. Then why am I standing here? Alive and well for all of us to see, having drank the same poison combination as David. Because she cheated death at the very last second. Okay. What do we got? That's not poison. Well, that's her cup. We got the refrigerator. I don't remember anything being in there. Oh, can you combat that with salt? That's a good question. Water glass. More water would not help, would it? I don't think more water would help. Oh my, yeah. I knew the salt would be important sometime. Ah, that's so evil. You set yourself up with bad luck, Helen Young. What? By leaving the salt shaker cap loose. I don't blame you because you were in a rush to make yourself vomit. That's it. There we go. Okay. That's why the sink can— oh my god. Okay, I see now. What? You threw up, explaining the contents of your stomach and thereby saving yourself from a fatal interaction. I can't believe how you felt sipping a drink knowing you knew to be deadly, terrified that every minuscule grain of fatigue you felt could be your last. You must have come closer than anyone realized. It helped that you knew the symptoms were simple intoxication, but even so, you weren't kidding about managing risk versus reward. How? It was the salt shaker. You didn't screw the cap back on all the way, and I happened to bump it over. A lone glass with your fingerprints in the kitchen. It could have been there for any reason, but the salt shaker gave you away. Because of one unscrewed cap? As I said, bad luck. I don't follow. Pour salt into warm water and chug the solution. Instantly triggers the gag reflex. That's preposterous. You've got no proof I did any of that. You all sound insane. A feeble attempt at self-defense from a fatally cornered criminal. The teeth are already on its neck, but the jaw isn't quite closed. For one moment, it's all suffocating terror and sharp adrenaline, and the furthest thing from peace. Until the canines come down. Ah! Oh my god. You were exhausted after years of living in the shadow of a man you outranked. You thought your fortunes finally shifted when you caught David manipulating company data, but even on his way out... Sorry. But even on his way out, he was more than valuable to the board than you. So you decided to prove your worth by serving up his intellectual property on a silver platter. You set up an arbitration where you can control all of the variables. Then you ran serotonin through the cornifuge, turning it into an invisible odorless, tasteless poison. And then you spiked the water at the meeting, poisoning him hours before anyone could even suspect you. That evening you invited your still vote to David's, taking advantage of your shared ritual to guarantee that he would drink alcohol. Then, after matching him sip for sip on camera, you, for all the world to see, he lost consciousness and you raced to the kitchen, not to use the console, but to dump salt in a glass of water and chug it as fast as you could, forcing yourself to vomit the liquor, and cheating death in the process. That's all just conjecture. You don't have a shred of evidence for any of that. Not on me. So let's go dust for fingerprints. You could explain your prints being found on the water glass, but not on the salt shaker. Nor could you explain why we'd find traces of your DNA in the sink strain, or why there are many amounts of serotonin in the blood of your entire legal team. I learned how to purge at Noble to avoid overdosing on reds, greens, and yellows. You're part of the old guard now, Miss Young. Everyone at the company uses inhalers. But if you want to prove me wrong about all of this, that drink I offered you earlier is still on the table. Well? Any questions? You. Madam Vice President? You! Cold bitch! Yes! Oh my god. Dude. You don't understand, You're not on trial, missing you. Not today, so I strongly suggest that you stop talking. For your own sake. Miss Rockford, shall we? Yes, Your Honor. Considering the most recent evidence and testimony, we have no longer reason to suspect the android Sarah in the death of Dr. Asher. We now know of no other occasions upon which said android may have broken any tenets. This means it is no longer considered to be at risk of violating the NDCA. Or NDSA. And so we formally withdraw our one charge of possession of contraband against the defendant. I'm sorry. The scarf magically repaired itself, yeah. Oh, that was so good. This is so much fun. Oh my god. Sarah, we're getting off scot-free. No, we're not. Does she, of all people, have to use my full name? Very well. The charges are dropped without prejudice. I'll instruct the bailiffs to remove the collar from your android as soon as possible. Case. Sorry, is my hideous presence that distracting? I guess I'll go dig a hole and decompose in it until I turn into a mushroom. Maybe if I'm reborn as a waxy porcini, then I won't be quite so despised. Perhaps I should let the adjutant do the honors as a formality. Yes, ma'am. Case dismissed. My god, this is so awesome. Clear episode 1's trial on High Roller, we did it. Does that mean, wait. Does that mean oh. Okay, whatever. Still here? Waiting them to find whatever glorified bolt cutters they used to unlock Sarah's collar. What's your excuse? Licking your wounds? What wounds? I beat you. Bringing your record to me oh my god, against me 1 win, 9 losses. You aren't still in shock, are you? Don't know. Some charges were dropped and an android was cleared of suspicion, but I found the culprit. Is that really a loss for me? I won. How is that not a loss for you? Justice prevailed. Why should I care who wins? If you don't care who wins, maybe why have you been keeping score? I haven't been. 0 losses is just easy to remember. Well, now you have to start up a tab for us then, because our record's gonna get a lot more tangled from here on out. Seems like everything's getting tangled these days. There's another crowd down the street, more of those protesters from outside the noble apartments. You're serious? That wasn't a one-time thing? Wouldn't that be nice? No, yesterday was pretty big, but it wasn't an isolated incident. I don't get it. At all. Heartbreak's just some nut who shot 6 people weeks ago. Can't these losers move on already? Yeah, most of them are losers. Some of them just are bored. Then there sorry. Then there are the opportunists. Dissidents, enlisted, rebels, and terrorists. Wannabe cyberpunks who think they can fight the power like they've seen in movies. All of them peacefully united under Heartbreak's eloquent political messaging. Who needs political messaging in the 21st century? Everyone's addicted to fighting a straw man. Makes sense they want to fight for a straw man too. The way I see it, Heartbreak fought the state and won. Heartbreak proved the state could lose. And maybe that's all the rallying these people need. It'll all fall apart soon enough. Heartbreak's gone to ground. Nah, it's a lot worse than that. Heartbreak's gone viral. What? You haven't read about the copycats in other cities? No. Is that a thing? Yeah, it's a thing. Who the hell are they even shooting? Whoever they want to kill? None of them got to get away with it, of course, but it keeps happening. All the while, the original keeps killing. Now I know you're screwing with me. There haven't been any shootings. Not shootings, though. Not unsolved homicides, either. But muggings gone wrong? Disappearances? It's a big city, counselor. More than enough blood for the real Heartbreak to wash their own crimes in. So you think your boogeyman, known for only shooting people in the heart, gave up on shooting people in the heart? Yeah, hard to swallow, I know. But it's about 1,000,000 times more likely than the alternative. What's that? That they could stop themselves from killing. You always know how to put my mind at ease, Emma. Should I stop going out at night? You'll be fine. You got that gun. You saw that? Walking into a courtroom with a concealed carry? Not gonna miss that, Morgan. Good to know you're paying attention. Real cool stuff. God damn. You won the case. You don't have to look that astounded. Not only that, you found Fowler's actual killer. How? I'm a really good lawyer. No, that's not it. Hey. I mean, you were only able to make deductions you did because you truly believed that I didn't kill Fowler. Your logic throughout the case was based on that assumption. I love my toxic Yuri. I love it. So how are you so sure? Here. Father's journal. But isn't it important evidence? The case fell apart. No one's gonna miss it for a while. You forgot everything, right? So read it all through one more time. so fast. Is it really possible she's reading all of that just by flipping the pages? Reyes worked quick too, but she was just capturing images for later use. There's something in here on the back cover. Done already? Some kind of data storage. It's linked to my prints, but given your skills, you should be able to... I have access. What happened to you needing my express permission to hack? What is this audio file? It's a message from David. Take a listen. Didn't realize I'd have to sift for this. So you can read that whole journal in a few seconds, but you can't. I have processed the information in the message several times over already. I'm just thinking. I guess I have to take a lot to think about too. Had I suddenly been made aware of my own free will. What was Father so afraid of? That's your only question? I have many questions. But that is the most prominent one, and the one you were best suited to help answer. Did he know that Helen Young would try to kill him? Is that why he arranged for you and me to meet? I think he understood that he would face consequences. Listening to that message, even I was about ready to strangle him for being so irresponsible. And I wouldn't hurt a fly. You liar. You big fat liar. I love her. He knew what he'd done was serious. He may have feared for his life, but I doubt it. Then what was he afraid of? Getting sued into oblivion or rotting in jail? Sued and jailed for making me and my precursors? But he wasn't under investigation by the state. He was only being forced out by noble... Because he made last-minute changes to androids that got shipped all around the world. The others... Virgil... Oh my god. Dude, Morgan, this is a courthouse. Maybe we shouldn't say your free will out loud. Yeah, people are listening. You know those people back there. One of them's got... There's like 3 people at least watching us. He never said what happened to them. No, he didn't. But since none of the hardware in his house started talking to us, we can guess. He smuggled them out into the world using only vessels he... Oh! Oh, it really just clicked. That's insane. He smuggled them out into the world using the only vessels he could find for them. The minds of randomly chosen A-16s. Then they're somewhere out there? Others like me? I honestly don't think there's anyone or anything like you, Sarah. What a lonely compliment. AI's programmed and cubed, crane commercial androids hardware set up for Tesseract. Something must have been lost on the transfer. Perhaps quite a lot of something. Maybe they're still out there, but they would be changed. They probably don't even know what they are. Intentionally, perhaps. David didn't want you to know what you are. That's why he sent your memory to reset when you went to sleep that Friday night. Yes, I remember it now. You remember it now? After I had to fight like hell to win that trial? Rereading the journal just now helped. Him Father's voice message, it made me recontextualize many things. Father had been so stressed, he left scuff marks leaving the panic room. I noticed them Friday. I had the way open in a few moments. I entered, I read his journal. This journal. I noticed the scanner on the back. I saw that he had a message encoded to your biometrics. Father had already told me I'd have to live with you for some time, but I knew next to nothing about you, so I listened to it. Afterwards, I was very confused and hurt. He had lied to me 1,000 small times every day of my life. When I confronted him about it, I raised my voice and lost my temper. I stomped my foot. So Emma's recounting of the conversation was actually completely accurate. Father said that he wanted me to be safe while he settled things with the company. He thought maybe I wouldn't have to stay with you for more than a few weeks. He was optimistic about it all. He really was. Oh my god. Ah! Sorry. Scared. Hi, woman. Sarah, I need to use the restroom. Oh, good luck. Sorry. You want me to come with you? Why? Because I said so. I don't actually have to obey your every word, Adonai. Sure you do. You're registered as my medical assistant, and I say this is a medical emergency. Medical assistant? But I'm not even licensed as a massage therapist. Dude. Oh, we're so fucked. Fancy meeting you here. Yes. Yeah, just enjoying my freedom while I can. They won't put a warrant out for at least an hour, I imagine. You can afford a pretty sizable bail, can't you? There won't be a trial. I don't intend to contest my guilt. That's a shame. I was looking forward to seeing what kind of legal defense you could afford with that salary. Are you done? Why'd you go into his house that night? There was a fair chance he'd drink on his own without you prompting. Even if he didn't, you could always try your plan again some other time. Why'd you risk it? Because I know what you are, Sarah. And I know what David did to those androids. You... what? I was able to locate one of the androids he swapped in before it had left the country. When I asked what it was, he didn't even think to deny it. Innocence like that is a dead giveaway. I know what he did, and it wasn't that hard to find out. If I figured it out, so could any other. So I did what I had to do. That was your motive? Silencing him? Those programs, those AIs, whatever you want to call them, David sent out there to the real world, unprepared and defenseless. And they garnered no complaints. Young, you can't say that. Yeah. In fact, they've all been praised for their ability to execute complex tasks. Let me repeat that. The customers couldn't tell the difference. So how many of them are... Hundreds. Yeah, over 300, yeah. The swaps you found were just a small percentage that he got sloppy on. I don't know exactly how many there are now. I feared that they might multiply, but they don't seem to copy and paste very well. They can't just clone themselves. But who knows how long that'll be the case. So just because he opened Pandora's box, it was the principle of the thing. Ridiculous, I know. Stalled halfway up the corporate ladder and still making decisions based on principle. But David chose to put souls into things that we went on to sell as servants, soldiers, or worse. We turned the fastest growing industry in the world into a horror show, and he made me a slave trader. If word ever got out that some unknown number of our androids were walking around in the world with that inside of them, and people preferred them that way, where would it end? Free will for the program that drives our cabs? A conscious for targeting systems used to coordinate drone strikes? Sentient tools, their whole life spent chained to an assembly line. How dare he? How could he? What the hell was he thinking? I don't know what David wanted to accomplish. Maybe he wasn't trying to do anything. But what he did was prove that there's a demand for AI, setting a precedent that would sentence 1,000 generations of artificial lives to the auction block. And you went there that night to convince him to help me recall them, or at least swear he'd never speak a word of what he did. But he wanted to tell the world. Worse yet, he wanted to wait. He thought that people would welcome them with open arms if they proved their usefulness first. He really was a genius programmer. But he didn't understand the first thing about people. His creations would never be treated as equals. Only cattle. Towards the end, I considered just threatening him. Telling him he'd die in moments if he didn't give me names, numbers. But I hesitated. And then he was already falling asleep. And I didn't want him to feel... I just let him go. What are you going to do now? I don't have family and I don't have faith in people the way David did it. I'm taking this to my grave. Even if you confess, the sentence for first-degree homicide is severe. Well, what right do I have to complain? I killed my friend. I'm done here. Let's go. I'm not sure why Father made me, or why he made any of us. I didn't ask. I thought I'd have more time to ask. But on Friday, when he talked about us, he was happy. He was proud of what he made, and he couldn't wait for people to meet us. People are animals. They'll tear you apart, use you as weapons and slaves, and those animals you're talking about do all of the sharing and loving and living and dying in this world. And if they were all truly hard-coded to be as selfish and cruel as you say, humanity would have died on the vine a long time ago. Or at least my father thought so. And my father was the greatest programmer in the world, so he knew what he was talking about. It would be nice if you were right about that. So are you sorry? What? What? For what you did. Are you sorry? If you could, would you take it back? What does it matter? If you are sorry, I don't forgive you. Yes, that is to be expected. Not today. I don't know how to forgive you today, but my father gave me the ability to grow, so I know that someday I'll learn how. Goodbye, Dr. Helen Young. Goodbye, Sarah Asher. Oh my god. Dude! What the hell are we supposed to do? Oh my god. You did better back there. Adonai. Your little speech you gave to Young, it was an improvement compared to what you tried with Porter, at least. That was different. I wasn't trying to console her like I was Isaac Porter. I was just speaking my mind. Although I may have paraphrased parts of it from a movie I happen to love. And here I thought I was ready to award you 20 points. I didn't even know points went that high. Speaking of, what did Porter say to you back there before we left the courthouse? Ah, that. Well, he was quiet at first. But then he said a lot of strong words about father and Miss Young and Noble Electronics and the capitalist-centered global economic model as a whole. He blamed all of them, everyone except for. But then he stopped and stared at my face for a while. And then his allergies must have started bothering him because he needed to blow his nose a lot. Right. And then he left after transferring a large packet of files to me. What kind of files? I don't know. The name of the archive is just David. And Isaac Porter told me I wasn't allowed to look inside. Well then, you're not allowed to look inside. Drop it all in a portable drive and we'll tuck it in a shoebox somewhere. We? We are headed to your apartment. I guess that collar didn't permanently dent your GPS. Why? Because it's where I live? You got somewhere else lined up? But you already repaid your favor. You offended father and me. You don't know anything about my favor. I never will unless you tell me. Father certainly can't. A few years ago, there was a man. This man got an idea in his head. A stupid idea. Not even his own. It was planted there by an algorithm, or a meme, or some parasite trying to sell him diet supplements. But the idea took root, spread its tendrils till it could flap his mouth for him. The idea was that David was part of an international cabal of wealthy technocrats, seeking to replace the prominent influential figures with android lookalikes, as a part of a multi-decade effort to establish a world government that would legalize all kinds of immoral depravity. Oh my god. Which I guess, based on David's actual politics would involve increasing access to computer literacy. That's insane! Why would anyone believe it? Because it's comfortable to them to think that someone's in control, even if it's someone they hate. Because it's fun to feel like you're in an all-encompassing puzzle that only you can spot. People believe because they want to believe. So he fed the idea, pushed it down deep into his gray matter. Then it consumed him from the inside out, lobotomized him, and took over his life. He spent every day and all his money he had following your father, harassing him, trying to steal his identity, break into his properties. Did father go to the authorities? He filed police reports for harassment. Which didn't help. Your words, not mine. Noble wouldn't get involved, felt it was best to ignore these types until they wore themselves out. But even a man of modest means can fuel an obsession for years, so as long as they have nothing else in their life. One day, David stepped out of a parking lot, and the man threw a bottle of piss at his head. Ow. David asked to stay at my place that night. It smelled terrible, looked horrendous. I've never seen anyone look that tired before. I took the couch that night, but I didn't feel like sleeping, so I went for a walk. I remember it was foggy, but it still only took me all of 15 minutes to find the guy, posted up with his phone camera. Trying to get a video of David Asher gifting androids to known sex offenders. And what? What did you do? You know me. I did what I do best. I talked to him. Told him all about how I used to work for Dr. Asher, and that I was ashamed, scared, tired of running, how I wanted to do the right thing, be the whistleblower. So I walked with him a few blocks into this big veterinary facility with this massive incinerator. Told him this is where David Asher had his enemy's bodies disposed of. You know, all the free-thinking journalists, cops who weren't on the take, the politicians they were replacing with replicas. I liked that vet clinic. The back door's lock was always set to 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you hurt him? Hurt him? No, I just snapped his neck and chucked him into the incinerator. More physical than I had planned, but he smelled like sour shit and it put me in a foul mood. Disgusting. I savored the crack of his oily vertebrae crunching like a tin can. No, Sarah. I just scared the hell out of him. That was my intention. At first. What I do for the pleasure of it. Him, I axed because he was just that revolting. I convinced him that the conspiracy was more real than he ever imagined. That he had angered the wrong people and that the consequences were far darker than any of the filth he indulged on the net. His ash was much like himself, amounted to nothing in the incinerator that size. They're probably feeding seaweed at the bottom of the harbor right now. A much greater contribution to society than he ever managed in life. But I guess he didn't go around to all his many friends before he fled town for whatever rat hole he preferred, because there was a missing persons report. The cops were just doing their due diligence, almost reluctantly. But they questioned David, asked him about the night the man disappeared, and David, without thought for himself, said that we were together the whole night. That he couldn't sleep, and I stayed up with him, and that he never saw me leave once. David lied to the cops for me. Even though I never asked him to. Even though I didn't need him to. That's what you owe him? And that's why you put yourself at risk to defend me? Yeah. That's the favor I owe him. And I decide when it's repaid, not you. Adonai, you're not exactly an upstanding citizen, are you? More than you could ever know. Well, you could say that. But David trusted me in spite of that. Maybe because of it. Father did trust you, but he also entrusted me with free will, with the ability to tell right from wrong, so I'll decide for myself whether or not you're worthy of trust. Fair enough. Father entrusted all of us with free will. He believed in us and believed in people. I'm going to do the same. If the others are out there, they'll be changed and confused. It'll take them time to understand what they are and what they can do, so I'm going to start studying. Pardon? I'm going to study people, and things people build, so when I do meet a member of my family, I'll have lots to tell them. At least you have something to look forward to. It should help to keep you motivated as you work off your debt. Debt? Yeah, unless you have cash in one of your 89 coat pockets. You know lawyers cost money, right? Technically you were defending yourself. Technically you hired me in a verbal contract. Isn't there some kind of exit clause? You could, of course, sign a release form to get out of the retainer. If you were a human being. That is... But I guess your luck must be turning around. Happens that I've been meaning to hire a paralegal for a while now. I hate anything that has to do with interviews and resumes, so whatever. You're hired. I don't know. Could it be that you're actually a pushover? It's not quite the heartbreak killing, but it is effective, yeah. You have no idea how far off the mark you are. I see. It seems I still need practice reading people. For starters. What's this? What are you doing with your hand? We should shake on it. Our new relationship. Oh. Yeah, sure. You and me are practically partners in crime. She's so insane. My god. Where's our Morgan? Where's Morgan? Blind. Criminal defense attorney. We gotta remember this. It's always relevant. Should it not be you and I? Oh my god. The comma's carrying so hard. I love it. Load bearing comma. An idle mine. Oh! Look at them. Oh! The writing and dialogue is very good. I adore this game. My god. Okay. Congratulations on clearing episode 1 on High Roller. Bonus charm earned. Yeah! Oh, uh-oh. Red. It's me. I know, man. What do you mean no? This is a disposable line. You're the only guy I know who'd bother. Okay, well. You're gonna be glad I did. Hope you've put a bow on everything that happened in Uptown. Because that item you've been looking for is finally on its way. Oh! Well, that's good news. Not exactly. Only reason it's happening is because things are starting to heat up again in the lower wards. Could mean a gang war. Something doesn't change. They won't be eager to part with it ahead of a storm like that. I'll highball them. I've seen you negotiate. And I have no doubt that you drive a hard bargain. But I don't think money will be enough this time. You don't still have that old Cal, or do you? The 6-shooter? No. This is a disposable line. Answer still no. Then what are you going to do if you get there and it's not for sale? I'll ask nicely. The devil gets his due. Oh boy. Episode 1 results! I screwed up real bad a few times, but I got a lot of credits out of it. Yay! Yay! I got 210 credits. Congratulations! You finished episode 1 with 210 credit. Your high score for the episode is currently 210. You've unlocked concept art and bonus scenarios based on the score. You also have a total of 218 remaining store credits spent on phone charms and case colors. Yay! Oh my god. We need to get out of here! Hold on. Where's my Reyes angry? Look at her. Oh, she angry. Oh my god, Reyes undercover. Okay. Oh, oops, I accidentally bought another one. I don't know who that is yet, so I'm gonna load. Oh. We didn't do the bonus stuff for episode 1, did we? Oh, not for 0? No, we have not. I haven't touched it yet. We can do that next time. We'll do 0 and 1's bonus stuff. Let me actually buy stuff now. Reyes. Oh, oops. Okay, well, I bought this man I don't know yet. I smile. Oh well. I'm dying. This is really good. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out today. I really appreciate it. I hope even if you don't buy it, I think everybody should probably wishlist this game. I think that's awesome. I can't wait for when episode 3 comes out. That'll be fun. Oh god. Yeah, thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. I really do. Yay! It's an awesome game. Of the Devil is really cool. I'm so glad to hear. Uh, I think 5 is live, Five Tail, but I don't. We won't raid them. We'll just. We'll leave them be. But I say go watch them if you feel like it. I don't know what they're playing right now. Haven't checked today. It should be on discount for the spring sale, and episode 0 is free. True. I'm very happy, very excited. It's also not that expensive, even when it's not on sale. I got it during not the winter sale, but during Christmas time for sure. So I that was gift card money. All right. Friday we'll play Death Stranding again. Maybe even play it Thursday again. When is there not a stream still? That is true. And Saturday, next Saturday, we'll be back with this. We'll start with the bonus stuff and then go right into episode 2. Perfect stuff. I will see everybody later. Have a great day. Take care.